Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the co-optional podcast for the 4th of November, 2014.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
I've been gone for a few weeks. I heard you lot have been ruining it in my absence as usual.
Of course,
Ruining is that's a harsh word.
It's not a harsh word.
Accurate word?
I think it's pretty accurate.
In a world where feelings trump facts,
really.
Jesse, which was it, really?
One man's ruin is another man's archaeological dig, where you find lots of treasures, wonderful
Yes,
trinkets.
Well, I'll
Of a
agree with you on
bygone
this.
era.
You are certainly digging a hole for yourself. All right. That'll work pretty well. Welcome to the Co-optional Podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games. We do not have a guest this week. We thought we'd just have a nice little calm 3-person show because I need to be eased back into this. I mean, I can't really handle the stress. Me blood pressure is going up. You know how it goes. So, Dodger, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm really missing your flag in the background.
Yes,
what happened?
I kind of fell
what's
down.
going on?
I thought I wrecked it. I mean, it kind of fell down, then I kept it down for an interview that I was doing where it probably wouldn't have been a great idea to have a giant British flag in the background. So, and then I just kind of didn't put it back up because I couldn't be bothered.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's okay. It looks very what's the word? Professional in a way that my life has never been.
Alex soundproofing. Behind it is junk. Like, there's quite literally like an airsoft BAR from World War II in the back and piles of like computer bits and junk and nonsense behind it. But as far as you know, the Chinese privacy screen with the Alex glued to it is the most professional studio setup in the universe. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
I'd highly recommend one, by the way. It's a portable little sound booth, essentially. Really deals with a lot of the reverb that this room has. It's always lovely. Or, of course, you could just litter the back of your room with pointless junk, as Jesse has done. Welcome to the show.
Pointless. It all has a point, my friend. And the point is to fill the background with things, so it's not just a picture of a naked woman and a poster that says Jesse is better at Hearthstone than TB, signed the entire Hearthstone development team. One of those, it's, just so you don't see that all the time. Hello, I'm really excited that you're back, man. Hosting this thing is hard work. It is a lot of stuff, so I'm glad you have that honor now.
It's really not that difficult, honestly.
Look, I make Let's Plays. It's hard work. Compared to my normal amount of work, this is hard work. This is difficult.
I see you voted, Jesse.
I did. I voted today on a great many things. I would say it's probably too late by the time this VOD goes up, but go vote. It's your civic duty, nerds. Do it. Despite what you may think, like, I have my opinion of the count, and if I vote, nothing changes. That's very cynical. Only TB's allowed to do that.
Consider your vote the counteraction to somebody who really does believe their opinion matters and also may or may not believe that Revelations is about to fall upon us in 2017, that Obama is the Antichrist. Consider it a little bit of a vaccination against that.
Just offset.
There you go. Yeah,
Offset that sort of stuff.
Sane people must offset the insane. That's how it needs to work. Evil wins when good men do nothing, I believe was the term that someone coined who was smarter than me.
TB's back, man. TB's back. He's on
TB's
point.
back.
No,
He's back.
I'm eating painkillers. I'll probably have to eat another one during this thing, so I don't even know if I'll stay on topic. And that's without having to deal with you. Oh my god. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we have been playing this week. Let's get right into it, shall we? Unless there's something incredibly interesting about your lives that we don't know.
Don't look around for something interesting, Dutch. There's nothing there.
I found a store that has these same cat pillows, but they're like weird, like alpaca faces and things.
He said
and I
interesting.
want all of them.
He said
It's interesting to me. It's interesting to me.
Interesting or riot?
Son of a bitch.
Interesting or riot?
That is.
I think we're going to go with riot, actually, by the looks of it. It comes with a free Dota chest, actually. It's a little thing with a scratchable card that comes in it right there. Which I actually need to remove because, frankly, it's ruining the whole aesthetic of the whole thing. There we go. But yes, give discussion or
Guys,
riot.
you're off. Now it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing.
Yeah. I don't know why I have this. it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Okay,
you know?
you did actually purchase it.
Yes, I paid real dollars for this. Real
Just
dollars.
sure
I don't
that
even.
it didn't show up at your home.
No.
I'm gonna blame it on the
Have you know it?
painkillers.
No.
Blame it on the painkillers.
Give dietide. Give it. Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all the interesting that happened in my life.
That's it. That's all that.
That's pretty much about it. Let's.
Pillows.
Great.
Shall we start by talking about Call of Duty? Have any of you played it? I know Sam's been playing it, Dodger.
I watched Sam played it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, COD's actually good again. You notice that?
I agree with you. Firmly, strongly agree with this statement. I'm shocked by how much I agree with you on this.
Yes.
It's good. It's good. I don't know. It's bad. It hurts to say that. It's a good game.
Oh yeah, totally. I hate the fact that I'm saying that. It's like, really?
Right?
No, but but it is. It's not awful now, and there's a good reason for not thinking it's awful as well. It's not just a case of, oh, but it's got a new hat. It's like, oh, but it's got a new jetpack, and
The jetpack is dope.
it turns out that makes a huge fucking difference.
Yeah, it does.
A huge difference, and I think it like solves a lot of the problems that I used to have with Call of Duty, and the fact that it was really a game where you ran around, see who saw the guy first around the corner, opened fire with the almost instant kill, hit scan, totally accurate weaponry, and then got your kill and threw out your kill streak and shit like that. But that's not the case anymore, because I can be in the sky and kick you in the head. And it doesn't matter if you see me first around the corner, because I just boost dodges to the side and then smacks you in the face with an exosuit fist, or pulled out my laser rifle and gunned you the hell down. Yes, Dodger.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I've heard rumor that if you don't have good enough graphics cards, that a little sign pops up that basically just says this game can't run.
It's CPU.
Sorry, you spent money on this game because it can't run.
So there's the current problem with it is that they seem to they've put this kind of CPU check in, which is overly strict. Like it really it says that these CPUs kind of can't run the game even when they clearly can, and they've obviously got the power to do it. But for some reason they've enabled the CPU check. So far, no one seems to know how to get rid of that. I hope they'll just get rid of it anyway. But it's causing problems for some people who are like running on like weird configurations like overclocked i3s or something like that. Whereas the game clearly should run at low settings on those machines, but it's not. So that's not a very good idea, frankly. I'm very, very bothered by that. They should fix it. I haven't personally had a problem with it. It runs like a dream for me.
But you have more YouTube money than God, so...
Well, it helps, yeah. But here's the thing, though. Like, the really important thing about it is that Ghosts ran like shit on this same computer last year. Mm-hmm. And it was way less... Like, it should have been way less taxing than this game, because this game is a lot better looking, and it runs a lot faster. But Ghosts had, like, problems where if you look down a scope, it halved the frame rate. It was just terrible. Really, really stupid.
Sounds real stupid.
Yeah, very, very dumb. And Ghost was horribly optimized, and Ghost didn't have field of view. Ghost didn't have like half the options. This thing, like, if you go to the main video options, there's 26 options. Like, lots of stuff to change, and a lot of it's really advanced too. Like, you can go full on super sampling if you've got a monster rig to make it look better. You've got different kinds of AA available. You can mess with things like shadow caching, which really sounds like some kind of gross criminal activity. I'm gonna go out tonight and go do some shadow caching. That sounds great.
That's the DLC.
Shadow
cache.
Yeah. Yep. But what can I say? 90 FPS Kevin Spacey is available in that game. And
that's great. It's great.
That to me is important. I mean, the single player is okay. I'd say it's a bit of an improvement because there's less hiding behind walls waiting for your health to regen and more, I'm just going to go fucking airborne and stomp this guy instead. And I'm just going to dodge his bullets instead of having to soak them up. So that's nice. But again, those of you who suffer simulation sickness, you don't want to be playing the single player because you can't change the field of view. Multiplayer is fine though. It goes up to 90. It's all good. But I've been having a blast with it so far. Jesse, how much have you played?
Oh, man, I couldn't even tell you. Enough. I I will definitely say I think single player it has problems, but it's the same single player problems I always have with games like this.
Yeah.
Where definitely not enough time was spent on it. There are some single player missions that are gorgeous and overwhelming and fantastic, and you're just like blown away by the experience. And then other ones are a slog.
Right.
You're just like, oh, really? Okay, let's do this. Kill 12 million guys with like a tank. Like, oh, okay, here we go. Right? It's just like stuff like that. That's unbearable. But then there are missions where it's just like, and you really get the feel for the world you're in, and that I love. Multiplayer though is fantastic.
Did you press
really,
F to
really
pay
well
respects though? Have you done that yet?
I love that that's a meme now. I think even the fact that Conan O'Brien picked up on that when he did his COD like Conan play thing.
Yeah.
Even the fact that he was making fun of that, that is definitely meme worthy. It's also cringe worthy. I'm not sure why that's in the game, but whatever.
It's just so silly that
It was a joke. Like
I thought it was too.
Full on thought this must be not real.
Why could that not have just been a cutscene? These are one of the situations where I would absolutely advocate for that just being a cutscene. There is no reason. 'Cause immediately after that, they kick into a cutscene. It's
Has anyone tried not to pay respects? Like, because if you're in a game and it gives you the option to press a button, what is the other option, right? Like,
right.
What happens when you don't press that button?
Everyone just hangs out waiting for you to pay respects. They're like, "Are you gonna
do it?
Are you gonna be this rude right now?" Just like
I feel like there should be something that happens if you just don't. You're like, you know what? He wasn't that good of a guy anyway. No, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I do what I want.
That a funeral QuickTime event sounds pretty fucking stupid to me. That is the sort of thing, if you're... Okay, cool, do the funeral thing. It's a war game. That's going to be involved in some way. If you want to try and pull my heartstrings, by all means do that. But you really... incidentally, those that saw the little scene afterwards, that was inserted in a YouTube video and it isn't actually there. The guy kicking the coffin into the thing is not actually there. Someone put that in as a joke. Just want to clarify that. That was a pretty funny video. But that is the sort of thing that it doesn't benefit the game in any way to have that be there. And there are some games that have tried to make the interface like really involve you on an emotional level, and there are very few games that actually made that happen. Like, if you compare that to Brothers, right? There's a... I don't want to... It's... All right, I will...
Remember in Brothers when they shut up a battlefield and killed that damn ogre who kept throwing him around? God, that was a good scene. And then they paid their respects to him. There's a scene in that game that does kind of pulling the heartstrings and being directly involved in a really good way. Yeah, and it's nowhere near this. Like, this is just dumb shit. Whereas Brothers does a phenomenal job of using that user interface properly. I'd say also there's some pretty good stuff in Spec Ops The Line. Because that game's like, but I really don't want to press this button because what I'm about to do is fucking horrible. And it kind of forces you into choices and things like that. And, there's maybe some stuff with Walking Dead as well, but I just think that was so ham-fisted. Just, they made no effort to press F to pay respect. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, you might as well put press X to cry. That's just terrible. No, but you're absolutely right, because it's an unnecessary addition to the game, because there is no consequence for doing it. It's just it's basically like press X to continue. Like, there's nothing there. Why do it? It makes no sense. It's insane. It's just, I can't even say it was put there to pad out the game, because I don't know that it even does that. It's just a weird, like, we want people to, I can't even imagine the boardroom, because there was people who were like, the player is paying their respects to the American soldier. Don't you understand? Like, there's got to be...
No, they're not. They're pressing F to advance. Press X to Jason, as people pointed out. Yep.
It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I would even say that press X to Jason is less egregious than this, because it kind of makes sense. Like, at that scene in the game, very early on in Heavy Rain, you're trying to find your kid who you lost in the shopping mall. So
yeah, it makes sense. It's like...
Yeah, because you're shouting for your kid. It doesn't do anything, but it's there because the way that David Cage likes to sort of contextualize a lot of that stuff, he uses a lot of interesting visual and UI elements to convey stuff like fear. Like he'll have the stuff kind of shake around, and he'll allow you to do things that are just kind of character role playing. And you don't have to at all. You don't have to go around shouting Jason. It doesn't do anything if you shout Jason. But in this, you have to press F to pay respect to continue, which is just like, feel something! We're going to shove it in your face. It is the most ham-fisted effort that I've ever seen in that regard. It is just so dumb.
Can I say on an aesthetic level, like watching this game, I love that the color palette is so different.
It's
that
very
it's
bright.
like so much more vibrant and interesting to like watch things happen.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten so many games that were in the exact same color palette, that just like browns, greens.
Yeah.
Just browns, greens all the time.
Oh, they
like,
put some
oh,
nice
God.
level variety in that game. They've got all sorts of levels all over the place, and it helps that the levels are all based on the idea that you can go vertical and go onto roofs and shit. So it really it throws everything for a loop, because a lot of the map design, I feel weaknesses in the previous CODs were based around the routes where you could run around the map and the spawns. But now you can do things like you can just jump up on a roof and you can just completely bypass all of that, and it throws everything up in the air quite nicely, quite literally, in fact. So I'm digging it so far, and the movement is great. I love the idea that if I move fast enough and in the right directions and I'm boosting all over the place, then some twat with a sniper rifle across the map is not going to have that one-shot, one-kill Mountain Dew bullshit that he was able to do in previous games.
Yes, go on.
TB, not a fan of Mountain Dew, so...
No, that shit gives me headaches. It's horrible. Absolutely
Have you
horrible.
guys jetpacked yourselves to death? Like done the thing where you got so
yes.
excited about jumping and jetpacking that
But
suddenly
you jumped off the
just,
level
like,
repeatedly.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
I feel like that's been a big problem.
Yeah, I've had there are some levels, which like the one I showed on the stream earlier, that for some unknown reason has a fucking hole in the middle of it, that I've just fallen off the side of repeatedly. I'm like, yeah, I'm an elite jetpack agent, and then I just fall off the level. Like, god damn it. It's good, though. It is pretty good. I like that a lot. I'm having a ton of fun with that. I'm messing around with new builds. I'm building this kind of setup with an auto shotgun right now. The auto shotty, by the way, sounds brilliant. The sound assets make it sound like it's a laser gun of some sort, and it fires so fast. You got to be really careful. You can unload the magazine in less than 2 seconds, and it's only got 8 rounds. Then you got to reload the damn thing. But you fly through the air, and as you're kind of passing overhead, you shoot people in the head with that thing. It's great. It's so good. So I've been enjoying a lot of different weapon combinations. I don't like the sniper rifles, I'm going to be honest. I can't hit shit with those things. But it seems like the game's so focused on moving that why the hell would you ever, ever, ever want to be stationary with a sniper rifle?
You'd have to be really committed to the idea of being a sniper.
Yes. Yeah.
to figure out how to do that effectively.
I think the great thing is that the douchey things snipers could do in previous, COD and Battlefield games,
quick
where they
scoping?
could find glitches, way to get, hide places that you couldn't necessarily see right away, and they could I'm gonna jump up with this and do this. You can just jetpack right up their ass.
Oh, yeah,
now.
of course,
And
yeah.
It saves so much trouble of how'd that guy get up there? How the hell do I hit that guy? And you're focused on killing this one dude. Now it's I'm just gonna fly my ass behind you and shoot you in the head, dummy. And it's great. It's so much better. I love every aspect of that.
Yeah, it does seem to make a really big difference, and I imagine the people who like sniping are probably going to find it a shitload harder this time around. I wouldn't say the sniper rifles are useless, they're still very powerful, and I have been killed by snipers before, but it just seems to be that not only is it going to be harder to hit people because they're moving a lot faster, but it's also going to be a lot harder to find a place where you'll be safe to snipe.
Right.
Because people will figure out where you are, and they'll go and bash your head in. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I do wish it had dedicated servers. I've definitely had lag problems. They did say they're gonna be dedicated servers, but they're not in the launch edition. That I can tell you for a fact. So I have no idea what's going on with that. But hopefully they'll set those up, and then I'll maybe make a server and just play on that instead of relying on the matchmaking all the time.
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
no gun game, from what I could tell. No gun game. That's kind of disappointing. I love my gun game. And
What does that mean?
It's a mode where you start off. Actually, it depends which one you do. Like this gun game, reverse gun game. It was a mode that was popular in Counter-Strike, where you start with a particular weapon, and then every time you get a kill, you upgrade to a new weapon, and you have to get through all the weapons
fun.
to win. So, like in Counter-Strike Go, I think it's 25 kills, and the last kill has to be with a knife. So it's a pretty cool idea. It's a good way to learn different guns too. But that was in Black Ops. I don't think it's in this one, which sucks. But never mind. I mean, it's I kind of miss it, but it's not the worst thing ever.
Right?
So yeah, it's not bad.
I want the last one to be slaps, like in GoldenEye.
Oh,
You just have to
karate
come up
chops?
behind somebody and
Yeah.
just slap him to death.
That'd be lovely. They'll probably throw that bullshit into a DLC. Their season pass is $50.
Yeah, that's insane.
$50 fucking dollars. That's a lot of money for something that you don't know anything about.
But the rumor that you could only get the zombie DLC with the season pass is false, so that's good.
Yeah, yes. There is what I read about it is that in the exosuit co-op mode, the last wave is zombies, and then you escape. But unless you have a source, I'm pretty sure that they want to add a full Treyarch style zombie mode with all of the zombie functionality, like buying weapons and setting up traps, in the DLC. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's going to be, originally there was a rumor that you had to buy the season pass in order to get that DLC pack, but they came out and they were like, no, that's not true. You can buy that DLC separately, just like any of the other DLC.
Yeah.
All right. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you don't have to buy I mean, you never really had to buy the season pass. It's just if you buy the $50 season pass, it's going to be most likely 4 sets of DLC that are $15 each. And apparently it's €50 because I don't know what the hell Steam is up to with that, but it's I don't know. I've never bought a DLC pack for any Call of Duty game because I've always felt that map packs are fucking pointless and you shouldn't be selling maps.
Yeah.
You shouldn't, because it splits the community repeatedly. That's actually a problem on PC, because especially if it's a bad PC port, like Ghosts never really got popular on PC. More people play the original Black Ops than do Ghosts on PC still, several years on, because it was just a better game.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not too keen on the DLC idea, but what I will say is the base game is a jolly good time. I like the loot system. I like getting variant loot. That's fantastic. I like getting like the Red Baron hat that I can fly around in just from random stuff. You get crates every once in a while that you open and they give you experience boosts and different rare weapons and stuff. It's pretty neat. I can dig it.
Yeah.
I can definitely dig it. So it's surprisingly good. It's the best Call of Duty in a very, very long time. It's actually worth buying this time.
I'm just always bad at Call of Duty, so it's not usually a priority game for me because I'm like, well, I'm going to be bad at this one too. So.
I feel like there's like enough different with this that people who are maybe traditionally not into COD might want to give it a shot. Like if you've played Titanfall and you're used to the idea that jumping around and being mobile is really important, instead of like running around and just aiming down your sights, then I think you'll actually have a bit of success with COD now.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case previously. It was like, oh, aim down the sights, shoot people in the head, hope to see this guy before he sees you. That was really the way that COD used to work. Not the case anymore. But there's still some issues with it. I want to see servers. I really do. I want to see, hopefully, a little bit of work on the balance, because a lot of people are saying right now that assault rifles are really the only way to go, and that practically everything else is statistically inferior. And maybe that's true. I've had a lot of success with shotguns and SMGs, but what they're saying is that some of the assault rifles are just as good as those weapons in close range, but they're also much better at long range. So, like, you're hamstringing yourself if you don't actually use them. If that's the case, they need to balance that. I don't know if that's true yet, but no, I've had plenty of success with weird weapons, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, otherwise it's good. It's very good. What else have you been playing, Jesse? What's been going on?
Oh my goodness. So first thing that is a love and complaint this week is I downloaded TIE Fighter off of GOG.
Oh.
And I've never been more excited to download an old game. Here's my problem though. There are 3 versions of the game. They give you 2. They give you the 2 versions that are not the version that I want. They have 94 and 98. So they have the 94 version, which was the floppy, or not floppy, but like, the disc, or like 3.5 millimeter, whatever those things are called, the floppy disk, we'll say. And then they give you the 98 version, which is like the souped up CD, but it only works with a controller or a
joystick.
Yeah.
Yes.
The 95 version is the one that I loved. It's the one that I played. It has all the features the 98 one has, but you can still use your keyboard and mouse.
Right.
And that's the one they don't have. And so if you want to use your keyboard and mouse, you have to go do the 94 version, which is less good, we'll say, than the 98 version. So it's just a giant pain in the ass. It's like, why couldn't you get the best one? The 90, like, that's the one I loved as a child, and now I just don't have it. It makes me sad. It makes me sad inside.
I want to see them bring out X-Wing Alliance, because that game had a lot of really good like HD texture packs you could download, which actually made the game look pretty good and modern. I mean, when I play TIE Fighter, I'm absolutely going to play it with a flight stick, because it just seems to be the way to go with it, but I can certainly understand why it would be annoying not to be able to use keyboard and mouse.
The problem that I have is since I don't have a flight stick, I was using my controller, but because there's so many function buttons, and you have to press F this to follow and do this, and this guy's going fast. Well, if you press this F button, you can slow down behind him and maintain speed. And there's all these different things that just using a mouse and keyboard were infinitely better for. And so now that I'm, if I'm using my controller and sitting here like this, I suddenly have to look down and press a button to keep doing it. And it's a pain.
That was the cool thing about using a stick, because you had one hand free for the keyboard functionality, whereas with a controller you don't.
Right.
So that is a problem. But I love the fact that it's out now. That's great. And I really, and it doesn't use DOSBox either, which is also great. I want to see X-Wing Alliance and hopefully maybe some multiplayer functionality. I don't think did TIE Fighter originally have multiplayer, or was it X-Wing v TIE Fighter that first?
No, it was X-Wing v TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter, the only thing it had, which I thought was great, and I did all the time, I was a huge part of that community, is it had a modding feature where you could mod your own games and make your own TIE Fighter stories. We used to do that all the time. Because after a while, you would, once the story was over, it was like, all right, well, I could go back and play through it again, or I can make my own story. So there was this huge community that would be like, I made a new adventure and you should play it. And it was great. It was so much fun because it was new experiences. It was kind of like that Minecraft feel where it was, now you're telling your own stories and making your own things and creating your own worlds. And I loved that about it.
Mission creators for games like that really do a great job of enhancing how long you can play it.
Yeah, it was, man, I used to play that. I would say I played that until, I don't remember what whatever the next Windows upgrade that wouldn't let you play it anymore was, I consistently had that on my computer. I loved TIE Fighter. Look, we all know, if there was an Empire and there were rebels, I would join the Empire immediately. F the Rebel Alliance.
I don't know why the fuck anyone would join the Empire and fly a TIE Fighter. It's like, yeah, I want to fly a mass-produced... there we go. A mass-produced little piece of shit that looks like this, that has no fucking shield. It doesn't even have...
TIE Defender, though.
Yes, okay. If you actually survived long enough to fly a TIE Defender, then I have to wonder why you'd need a TIE Defender. Because all the people that need a TIE Defender are the people that get fucking shot down in the TIE fighters before they get a chance to. It's so backwards.
But with that said, though,
it doesn't even have atmosphere. You have to wear a fucking spacesuit to fly it. Come on.
Let me get my Z95 Headhunter and my Y-Wing and my B-Wing.
Your B-Wing won't die to shit, man. That thing's made like a tank. And as for this thing, well, I mean, if you flew that, then you must suck anyway, so...
I freaking love that game. And the best part is it tells the pre-story of the expanded universe. So if you're a huge fan of the Thrawn series, it's like, this is when he was a vice admiral, and it's so good. You're like, oh, I know that guy. Later on, he becomes a badass, but now he's not because he's just a little dude. But you help him become a badass in this story.
Yeah, that's cool.
Great. It's really good. So that was one of the first games that got me. Oh, I was like, I love you, TIE Fighter. So that was cool.
I'll be interested to see what else GOG brings out under this partnership, frankly. I'm hoping that there will just be some very good stuff. I mean, it's all basically Lucasfilm, LucasArts stuff at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's entirely 50 games. 50
games? They were saying 50 in total, weren't they? Yeah, it's Disney Interactive and Lucasfilm. And so far they released X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Sam & Max Hit the Road, which is great. Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition, Indiana Jones, Fate of Atlantis, again, great. Yeah. And also Knights of the Old Republic came out as well. So
and it's good and playable. It's not like some other releases, no name, Steam, that bug out a lot. It actually, you can play it. It's great.
Yes.
So
That's the thing I like the most about GOG. That and the fact that they sponsor my esports team. Full disclosure, they give me money and make me not bankrupt, which is lovely. But outside of that, when you play something on GOG, it actually fucking works. As opposed to on Steam, where they'll release games from 1993 and require you to burn a music CD. I mean, come the fuck on, really? They try. They actually try. They curate their damn catalog, and that's really important.
Was there a PC release, or is it possible to get Shadows of the Empire on PC?
On PC? Is
that possible? God, that'd be so good.
I thought that was just an N64.
Yeah, so did I, but that'd be great if they could somehow pull that off. Because it's old enough that I don't know that you would, right? Man, that Shadows of the Empire was fun.
There was a PC version. 1997 it came out. It was announced as an exclusive N64 title, and then they brought out a PC version in 1997. So yes, they could get Shadows of the Empire.
Make it happen, GOG. Make it happen. Shadows of the Empire is great.
I'll tell you what, please don't spend any effort on Rebel Assault, because fuck that game. Oh, God. That game is a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
What was the one that it's only maybe, all right, I'm going to say a few years old, but it's probably 10 years old. The one where you actually like went out and conquered worlds and you could build either the Empire or Rebel forces.
Empire
it was
War.
Sort of, was that what it was? Like the 4X or whatever it is?
So there were two of them. There was one called Rebellion, also known as Supremacy, depending on which region you lived in.
All right.
And that was the one... That was kind of cool, but also simultaneously it used sprites. Like, all the X-Wings flew backwards because that game didn't actually have like proper 3D models. And the Death Star in the background was just a giant pixelated sprite. It wasn't an actual model in the game. And then there was Empire at War, which Petroglyph made, which was like... The space combat was really good, and the ground combat was fucking terrible.
Yes, I remember that.
That's a real problem with that. Empire War is otherwise really good if you just focus to the space combat. The ground combat is awful. It's not good.
Couldn't you skip ground combat? Couldn't you do like
you can auto-resolve. Yeah, you can auto-resolve.
I would do that all the time, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, that's already on Steam and works fine on modern OSs anyway. There's nothing wrong with it, so you might as well just play it there. There was also Galactic Battlegrounds. You remember that? It was quite literally just a total conversion of Age of Empires, and it wasn't a good one. No. I remember you could play the Gungans in that one, which made no fucking sense at all. Oh, they were terrible.
They're off Naboo, and they are pissed off. They are coming for you, Galaxy.
They also did some weird stuff where they kind of they basically said, yeah, we're just going to throw the modern Empire against the Gungans for no fucking good reason, because screw that. And then there was, of course, Force Commander, which was a terrible video game. Absolutely awful 3D RTS. Just, oh.
Look, there's a reason why the Gungans don't exist in episodes 1, 2, and 3. They were wiped out. Kids, they were all murdered.
And everyone is very happy about that.
That was one of the Empire's biggest policy. Everyone loved it. Everyone was like, you know what?
Yeah,
before not such a bad guy.
Before Order 66, there was Order 65, which was fuck over the goddamn Gungans. Literally that.
They just nuked the water. They were like, call it a day. Yeah, good on you, Empire.
All right, I have a feeling we're excluding Dodger somewhat by overdoing this
Star Wars.
Yes, Dodger is a known Star Wars enthusiast.
Get out of town. You Disney employee who doesn't know about their biggest acquisition. Sure, all right.
Look,
oh my.
Look, I hadn't even watched them until I was in my 20s. I had never even watched the Star Wars movies until I was in my 20s.
The magic was gone. By then, the magic was gone.
I knew all the jokes already. I knew all of the jokes. I knew it's a trap. I knew he was his dad. I knew all that shit. So I watched it and I was like,
it is your job. Look, we all know that you're super preggers with Sam's baby. So it's your job. It's your job as a future mother to sit your children down early and often and have them
make them watch all of Star Trek. Yes, I agree. I absolutely
Star
agree.
Trek might be over a child's head at some points, I'm going to say, because Star Wars is simple. Star Wars is simple. Sit them down, good and evil. They'll lose their mind when they see the twist. Don't make them watch episodes 4, 5, and 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3.
Make them
okay.
Only 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And look, just do your job. Do your job as a parent. Make that happen. Give your children wonderment. Don't
Wonderment.
don't sit them down and be like, today, children, we're going to watch Attack on Titan. Those kids will never be normal. Those kids will be weirdos their entire life. Don't do that. Don't you do that. That's all. As a friend, don't do that. Please.
Why not? I just want them to grow up loving Sailor Moon and pretending to power up like Goku when he becomes a Super Saiyan.
When your kids get beat up in school, I warned you. I warned you.
I didn't get beat up, and that's all I knew about. Star Trek and Dragon Ball Z. That's like all I had going. Look, they'll be fine. Jesse will be fine.
Look, I'm just trying to help.
Fine.
I'm just as a concerned adult, I'm just trying to help.
What else have you been playing this week, Jesse?
Oh man, too damn much of Civilization Beyond Earth.
Okay. I actually didn't go back to it after my video. I felt no desire to.
I kind of love it in every way a Civilization nerd can. I think it just feels new and different, and maybe that's why I'm into it. I like it better than Civ 5. I still think Civ 4 is the pinnacle of the Civilization franchise so far, but I like it because it adds new things and different things that I think I'm glad I don't have to deal with Space Gandhi. We'll say that. Like, I like that each faction can hold its own, and it's just like, what if we're all friends though? Like, I enjoy that everyone's like, no, screw you. We're here to make a buck and take over. I think that's great. So
how far beyond Earth do you get to go in Civilization Beyond Earth?
To another planet. You play on a planet.
Okay.
So there are aliens and there are things there, and you just do whatever it is you do in Civilization, but on another planet.
Is the alien species different every time, or is it always the same?
No. There are different varieties of alien species, but it's the same types. Like, you're not gonna ever see a different. Like, this is the Blorgenslorgs, and these are the Morgisdorgs. Right? None of that.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the wolf aliens, and these are the bee aliens, and everything's the same.
One of the biggest problems I had with it is that, like they're always the same, and they're basically just fleshed out barbarians. That's my interpretation of them, really. And that's a shame, because like Alpha Centauri, they made the aliens a key part of the emerging plot. Whereas in this game, they don't appear to do that in any way, which does bother me a bit.
I don't know if it's part of the plot. I would say that plot-wise, I don't necessarily know that there is one. I mean, there are little itty-bitty things that are thrown in, like, that explain your faction's reasonings in load screens and different things like that. But because of the way they have the system where if you put points into either harmony or supremacy or purity, you can control stuff like that. So if you go harmony, you slowly become alien yourself, and then you can control the aliens. And so you can use the aliens to your advantage.
Kerrigan?
And then the world that you have around you, all the things in the world that are trying to kill you suddenly become your friend. And so now you can manipulate the world to suit your own purposes and eventually become one with the hive mind of the planet, which I think is really cool. I think that's a great concept. Purity is space Nazis, and you're like, dude, the human race is the best. And then there's supremacy, which you become robots. And I think the quest system in the game is great because suddenly you have quests now that are do this or go to this place. And it makes the game more than just, I'm going to get all of the resources and get all of the knowledge and then I'm going to win. Now it's like, oh, well, if you do this research first, you get access to a quest that's this. And then if you follow that quest chain, you now unlocking more and more things as you go through. Yeah. And it changes the way the game plays. And I think it reminds me, I would definitely not say it, if you're expecting a new Civ game, it's not that. It reminds me of a really good mod. It reminds me, and I've said this a million times, of a sci-fi version of the mod Fall from Heaven 2.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's obvious like the Civ roots are definitely there, and they pervade everywhere. Like you can sit down with that game, having played Civ, and instantly know what's going on.
Right. It's Fall from Heaven 2 is a Civ 4 mod that's fantasy, and it's basically Civilization Beyond Earth, but in a fantasy world. You have all these new factions, and there are dozens of different characters you can play, and heroes, and all sorts of different things, and there are quests you can do, and there's a mini card game in it. It's fantastic. And this is just a sci-fi version of that. It feels like a mod, but I like that. And again, I played this Fall from Heaven mod more than actual Civ 4 because it was a fantasy version of something that I loved. And I think I like this more than Civ 5 because it's a sci-fi version of Civ 5. And it offers, I think, a little bit more to it than Civ 5 did.
For me, it's kind of the opposite because really they have less complex systems in that game than they have in Civ 5 plus Brave New World. That's the real problem, right? When you're comparing the two, you're comparing Beyond Earth to Civ 5 plus 4 years of patching plus 2 expansions. And that's where things like, well, this actually feels like a step backwards because a lot of the really cool stuff they put in Brave New World, which Brave New World made me love Civ 5. I fucking despised Civ 5 when it first came out. It sucked. And it was a bit better when they brought out Gods and Kings, but not by much. And then they brought out Brave New World, and it felt like the whole thing was fleshed out, and it was really the Civilization experience I wanted. And it had a ton of character because it's based on real-world events. And it's really hard to beat that with a sci-fi world unless you flesh it out greatly. And I think they did a great job of that in Alpha Centauri by having these really defined factions, and you got to know what each faction was all about through a bunch of really cool quotes, and the way that each faction would act was very predictable because it's like, oh, if I'm fucking with the environment, the Gaians are probably not going to be too fucking happy with me. But I couldn't tell you what the Pan-Asian Cooperative's gonna fucking do. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, none of them have any actual character to them at all. And I think that hurts the game quite a lot, honestly, because you're competing with fucking Gandhi and Lincoln and people like that. And it's like, well, there's this guy and he's wearing a futuristic looking cape. Who is he? Don't have a fucking clue. What's the context for his organization? Not a fucking clue. What agenda does he have? Couldn't say. Probably wants to buy petroleum from me, because that's apparently all anyone wants to do in that game.
Well, I think the thing about the game that I enjoy is the fact that because everyone's landing on this planet, at the beginning, everyone is very, very friendly. Because everyone's just trying to survive, and everyone's like, there's limited resources, and everyone's screwed, right? And there's aliens everywhere, and so if you're playing on anything other than easy, everyone's really like, hey, buddy, we're gonna work together, we're gonna solve this. And as the game progresses, all those people who you were mentioning who have no personality slowly develop one, and they become whatever it is their faction is going towards. So sometimes there'll be harmony, and so they react to what you're doing. And so if you're going middle of the road and trying to get everything, everyone will be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you, what are you, like, maybe you should pick a side, maybe we're at war. And then if you go full one direction, people will be like, you're going a little heavy in purity there, buddy. You got something you want to tell us?
Hey, you want to talk about a thing?
Right, and then by the end of the game, the faction lines are very drawn, and the people who are purity are sticking together, and so it's, as the game progresses, it's much more long term than right away you immediately like, oh well, that's Gandhi, he's going to be a friend of mine. It's, you have to wait and see how the game progresses to see what happens with your characters, which I think I actually like. I like that about it.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't really dig it. It's probably because I played too much of Alpha Centauri, and I think that even though they tried to disassociate themselves with Alpha Centauri and say, well, it's not a spiritual successor, I'm sorry, you can't forget that you made that game. That's not something that you can just erase from history. It's gonna get compared to that whether you like it or not. And while I love the fact that it uses the Civ 5 interface, which for the most part works really well, with the exception of fucking trade routes, my god, the micromanagement involved in that is a pain in the ass. Every fucking turn's like, reassign the trade route, reassign this trade route, reassign this trade route. Can I not pay someone to do that shit? This is the future. Can't a fucking computer figure this out? Why am I the one that has to deal with this? It's really annoying. But outside of that, like, the interface for Civ 5 is better than Alpha Centauri's interface, which was, yeah, the game came out in, 1999? Yeah, it's gonna, not be so good. But still, I still think Alpha Centauri is the superior game. And I played about, 20 hours of Beyond Earth, and I didn't feel the need to go back to it. It's a good game in its own right, but simultaneously, you can't disassociate it from Civ 5, because it is too damn similar to Civ 5.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you never kind of into Civ's historical thing and you wanted something in the future, then maybe that would work for you. Yeah.
It sounds like it would be more interesting to me than other Civ games have been.
You might love it then. Those wondering about the humming noise in the background, it's the goddamn mowers out the front in this neighborhood that apparently show up every...
God, you're living my life right now.
Yeah, sorry guys. There's nothing I can do about that. It's not my yard they're mowing, it's someone else's, and it makes a bloody racket. Anything else you've been playing, Jesse?
I'm trying to see here on the old desktop. I have been playing a lot of a game called Hand of Fate. I mentioned it before, though.
Oh yeah, that's the brawler with the deck building aspect, right? It's on early access.
Yeah. So you're playing you're building a deck that is then used against you technically to tell a story as you progress through a game to hunt down, I would say like the face cards of a normal deck. So there's like the Jack of Clubs or whatever, but it's the Jack of Sand, right? And basically he would be just like a low ranking minion guy, and you're essentially just hunting down enemies and telling a story, an RPG story, while a guy plays cards. And then the combat in the game is Arkham-ish, and
it seems a bit slow. I'm looking at it right now. Did you feel that when you were playing it?
I think it's definitely, the combat part is definitely still in beta. The card playing part is fantastic. It's the best part of the game. The combat part works. It's still very much like a early beta version of what you would expect in a game like this. There's some of the feedback is very slow. It doesn't feel as fleshed out as it should, but the card part and going through and managing your deck and finding items and things like that, I think is fantastic. So it definitely has a lot of work ahead of it, but it's a great game. I love it so far.
Yeah, I forgot. I wanted to play this after you talked about it last time. It sounded so cool.
Yeah, it's great. I think there's a lot to it.
20% off right now on Steam.
Yeah, again, it's still in early access.
we
It's
just
not
talk
done
about
yet,
that?
so...
Yeah. It's not
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, I do have it, and I'm intending to play it, but I don't want to do a video on it until it's done. But it sounds like it might be right up my alley. Deck building combined with brawling, that sounds phenomenal to me.
Yeah, and the cards you get, right? So, like, here's an example. After I beat one of the bosses in the game, and you go back in for your second, like, the game technically restarts and gives you, like, a start screen, and you're going back in to start a new mission, right? Well, before you start that new mission, it's like, build your deck. And so you have 2 decks to build. You have one, which is your weapons deck, or your armor deck, and in that you have all the weapons you've got throughout the game so far, all the armor you've got throughout the game so far, shields, chest pieces, helmets, whatever. And in that deck, you can get rid of all the shields, but then you lose access to the block ability in combat unless you find a shield while playing. And different weapons have different abilities, so some are better against undead, so depending on what mission you go on, things like that. And so you build that deck, and then you get random cards at the beginning, and then as the game progresses, you can unlock those as rewards from actually playing the game. Then you have your story deck, which is all these cards that you can choose to put in there. So... and that's what's on the table in front of you, and you move to all of those, and that tells the story of you getting to this boss, right? The thing is, you can decide how you want the story to go. You can have no battles and no interaction, just make it all choice, like text-based resolution, or you can make it all fighting if you want. But there are costs and benefits to each of those. If you do all fighting, you miss out on some of the random awesome stuff you can find, and if you do all text-based stuff, you miss out on the rewards of doing the combat. And so you have to be very selective on what cards you pick and how you play the game. And I think it's great too, the game responds to if you pick the same card multiple times, because they'll be like, oh, well, you're meeting the maiden again, huh? Like, some people never meet her. And it just sort of like mocks you for your inability to like make different choices. I was like, that's pretty great. It's so far, it's a really great game. So I
literally just bought it.
I'm kind of in love with it. Again, the combat part needs work, but everything else is pretty fantastic.
I'll definitely give it a shot.
Yeah.
That will be interesting. Anything else?
I think that's it. I think that's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
You're telling me you didn't play any Bayonetta 2?
I did not.
I did.
I'm gonna let you know why I didn't play Bayonetta 2, because Bayonetta 2, I don't have room on my hard drive anymore.
Wii U? Yeah. Dude,
I went to install it, and it was like, sorry, we don't have room for the install. I'm like,
how much? Oh, Jesus.
Same happened for me. It's
how many
huge.
things do you download on the Wii? I don't think I've downloaded a single thing on the Wii U.
I'm one of those suckers who every time I buy a game or something for the Wii U, and it's like, now input the code online, and you can get a bunch of free stuff. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm completely filled up with, I don't have any space, so I need to delete things, and I go and I look, and I'm like, but I don't want to delete any of this. And so then I was told, oh, well, just go get a flash drive thing and stick it in the back. Here's my problem. That's where I have my wired connection plugged in because my Wii U doesn't have its wireless is like. So I can't play it. I can't play it right now, and it's angering me. But I have it. It exists in physical form. I just can't play it.
This game was definitely one of those games where I went, I should have just bought the physical copy of this. There was no reason for me to download
does the download version come with the original Bayonetta 2? Because if it doesn't, you definitely should have got the physical version because it comes. Yeah, it comes with a remastered version of Bayonetta 1. You get both games.
Yeah.
Download.
Found that out later. Don't download the game. It takes 4 hours minimum for it to download. It's fucking huge. Don't do it. Just buy
Here are the download sizes. Here are the download sizes. They're amazing. Bayonetta 2, 12 gigabytes. Or, I'm sorry, Bayonetta 1, 12 gigabytes. Bayonetta 2, 18. So that alone is enough to just fill up your Wii U hard drive.
Huge.
Yeah, also apparently, Jesse, there's USB ports on the front and you're an idiot, according to chat.
Nope, chat. I'm looking at mine right now. It's sitting on my desk. It does not have any USB ports in the front. Looking at it right now, Home Skillets.
Front USB. Yes, it does, actually.
Where?
So, Jesse, I think you might be blind. So, if you look at...
are you talking about that thing that's supposed to be there in the front where you flip it down, there should be USB ports? Mine doesn't have that.
What?
Mine doesn't have that.
To the right next to the Wii U logo on the right-hand side?
Between where the Wii... I know exactly what you're talking about. Between the Wii U, I'm pretty sure I got, like, the most dysfunctional Wii U. My wireless sucks. No, like, between right where it says Wii... I know what you're talking about. Between right where it says Wii U and right where the little light is, there should be a thing that you flip down. I do not have that.
What?
I'm telling you, I don't have... I'm looking at it right now. There should be a little flip
Are you
down
sure
thing.
you didn't get, like, the Chinese version, like YE or something?
Again, this was my Wii U, and I think a lot of people have the same one. When Wii U first came out, we got a promo Wii U sent to us. So this is what I got.
You got a shitty version.
I got
because
like
you sold out to Nintendo and they gave you a shitty version.
Had no USB.
I don't have the. I'm telling you, I'm looking at it right now.
They're asking you to put it on camera, but I guess that would involve you unplugging it.
I'd have to. It's
downstairs anyway.
Guys.
Yeah.
It's right. It's literally right here.
Oh,
you're gonna have to trust me on this one.
All right.
I'm looking at it.
All right, Dodger, tell us about Bayonetta 2. I've played some as well. I'd love to talk about it.
Oh gosh, I really love it. I think that it's a gorgeous game. It handles so nicely. I got fucking pissed at it when I first started playing it. Any of you who follow me on Twitter, you saw the crazy amount of tweets of me being like, this fucking game, I'm dying, and I have full health, and I don't know what's killing me, and I don't understand what's happening. I got so angry. So, apparently, some of these battles, if you don't complete them fast enough, you just die. And you have to start over, which I don't understand.
Are those only the optional ones, though? Because I know there's the little area you go into every once in a while to fight kind of like a secret battle.
No. This was at literally the very beginning. This is the first dude with like the tentacle arm. That angel who you fight with Jane.
Oh. Okay.
So
I guess I crushed him too quickly for that to matter.
That's the thing. See? Okay, so I had spent my entire day playing Dark Souls that day, right? So I was very much in this mode of, okay, I have to like keep my distance, find my perfect time to strike.
No.
So then I'm playing Bayonetta, right? And I get to this fight, and he keeps like slamming me because I haven't quite gotten down the witch time thing yet. And I wait so long to kill this guy that the camera zooms out. We're on a weird floating rock, right? The camera zooms out and the rock just kind of tilts and angles off toward Earth, and it's like, you died. And I'm like, what? This happened 6 times in a row before I finally realized, you know what, I need to just go ham. And then he died so easily once I figured out which time. But I was like, what the fuck is happening? I had full health. I know she can fly because she has those fucking butterfly wings. So how did I die on that rock? It pissed me off so bad. But the game itself is wonderful. And after I finally figured out how to kill that guy, it has been great since then. I do not understand the people who are like, this game has way too many sexual things going on in it. There have been very few moments where I was like, that was a little overboard. But even then, I'm like, this is a game that is entirely within this conceptual world of like a burlesque game, right? Yes. This is a game where everything is supposed to be blown out of proportion. So the fact that, yes, there is a shot where literally the camera just slides under her crotch. I'm like, I'm okay with it. It's like, I don't care, because the aesthetic of the game is so beautiful in general and so like bright and vibrant that it just like, it all feels like it makes sense to me when I'm playing it.
Like the term that you use, like they're burlesque, the video game, is great because it's supposed to be a show. Like the whole game is putting on a show, and it's like, you know, Bayonetta in and of herself is putting on a show, but it seems like it's just for herself. Like a lot of the stuff that is going on in that game, like she's obviously enjoying every single fucking moment of it. And let's be frank, we're talking about one of the most powerful female protagonists in the history of video games. This is a person that quite literally beats up God with their fucking high-heeled gun shoes. Like,
she kicks a fucking plane.
Within the first 5 minutes, she kicks a plane.
5 minutes of the game.
Yeah. And then
amazing.
rides the fucking plane. I mean, that is a character with supreme agency and her own goals, and I absolutely love that. And it's also a character that very much kind of owns her sexuality. She's not sexualized for the hell of it. She's sexualized because she is a sexual character inherently.
Yeah.
And she knows that, and she owns that, and she makes fun of that constantly. She's just like hugely charismatic and extremely confident in every single way. And also completely out of proportion deliberately. Like, I mean, she's like 7 fucking feet tall. Like, the
she's
proportions.
So tall.
Yeah, I mean, not a traditional image of beauty in any sense of the word, I would have to say. And I mean, outside of that, the gameplay is sublimely good. We're talking about a game that, for the most part, runs at 60 FPS, not always, but mostly, and has a fantastic fighting system that is elegant, powerful, and really satisfying. We're talking about a protagonist that can do flips and dodges with the best of them, but simultaneously can bring down a fucking giant hair boot on someone's head, or summon a goddamn dragon from the nether, or kick somebody into some sort of ethereal torture machine just for the sake of doing it. It's not like she has to. It's impractical and showy, and it shows complete and total confidence in her ability to be this incredibly powerful thing. And I love that about Bayonetta. I love how completely over the top it is. And I love that how supremely good the game mechanics are in that game. It's the best spectacle fighter that exists. It's better than Devil May Cry. It's better than God of War, because it's fucking Platinum that made it.
Yeah,
they're damn good at what they do.
The designs of everything are so incredible, too. I love the look of all of the angels.
Yes.
I get so... I don't know. I love the look of when you're jumping, when you do like your double jump with her, and her outfit literally like shifts into a completely different outfit and shifts back so seamlessly that it's just like, I just want to jump more so that I can see her outfit turn into wings and then turn back into a normal outfit. Like, it's so cool. And it all rides on that concept of like, everything about her and all of the magic that she has is her hair, right? Like, her hair is her power. So
it's a very Samson-esque mythological thing.
It is.
Really.
It totally is. So there's this cool idea of every time you're fighting, like your clothing like seamlessly turns into hair and then turns into a different battle outfit and then turns back, and like, it's so cool to watch. It's so fun. I love that game.
Yeah. I love the way that it really rewards you for kind of holding down the button, and it feels like you're pouring power into your X button. I know it sounds really weird, but like, you can hammer the buttons, but if you kind of hold the button down, she'll kind of start to do a move that just becomes supremely powerful, and you kind of you'll balance on one leg and like point your feet at something and unleash like a torrent of bullets, or just turn around and slam down on something. You know how in games like that, like, you feel like if the harder you hammer the button, the more damage you do? That weird feeling. In this game, it captures that. And I love that idea. You feel so powerful. The connection between you, the player, and the user interface and the character on the screen. It feels like you're the same person. And that's what games are, you know. So there was this argument going around, and I don't want to touch too much on the feminism stuff. This whole idea of like the male gaze, and it's a 70s theory. It's kind of outdated from what I've heard, but the idea that Bayonetta is kind of performing for this drooling male player, you know. And to me, I reject that thoroughly, because to me, when I play a video game, the character isn't performing for me, because I am the like, we're one and the same. You know, and the camera is really just a means to an end of telling that story. I am that character is me. That's what controlling a character is all about. We are role-playing. We are that person. And
Yeah.
I will never understand the notion of saying the character that you're playing is on screen to titillate you. That to me is nonsense. Like, you get titillated by yourself. You're playing this character. You are this character. This is a self-masturbatory fantasy, apparently, according to some people. Screw that. Screw that.
Titillated by yourself.
Yep, that's what Jesse likes to do that all the time. He titillates himself constantly.
That's what I've been doing the last 10 minutes while you guys are talking. People in chat were like, why is he looking down? That's why. That's why, chat.
That's why.
Self-titillation.
I totally agree with that one, this game, for sure. Like, I feel like powerful and sexy and awesome because Bayonetta herself knows that she's powerful and sexy and awesome, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you feel like the power that she has is almost displaced onto you, and you're like, yeah,
because it is
I'm fucking rad.
Yeah, you can you
So
can
cool.
you exercise that power through the controller. That's why spectacle fighters are so good, because they allow you to do just that. And I've never had a problem with like playing a character that isn't me. I mean, fuck, everything is that. I'll play fucking animals and demons and things from hell. I'll play a male character, female character. I'll play a cross-dressing character. I don't care. I want to have a fun and interesting experience, and Bayonetta is just that, and I have no problems connecting to that character. If anything, I very much admire that character. Like, it's a well-written, funny, snarky, incredibly confident, even to some degree arrogant, ridiculously powerful character. It's awesome. Bayonetta is an awesome character.
I think that's something that spectacle fighters, like, I mean, spectacle fighters are exactly in the name, spectacle. What you're seeing, it doesn't matter who's doing it, as long as what is happening is incredibly, insanely awesome to look at.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who does it. It could be if a small, cute puppy unleashed like a crazy attack that turned him into like a demon dog, and he just ate up people and like spit him out his ass and like flew around the sun and like swallowed. And then he came back down to earth and was a little puppy, you'd be like, holy shit, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't
Spectacle
matter what it
game.
was.
Yeah,
right? And I think that's the whole point. And I think people can't get beyond the fact that it's like a woman in like a tight outfit. And that annoys me greatly. It's like, what? Why? Like, that's the whole, like, even Revengeance, I think, is, like, that is a game
Do you
where
like
it's
looking
just
at Raiden's firm, taut ass for 10 hours? Because
the entire game is just his ass. Like,
yeah,
his
it really
ass
is. He's in skin-tight clothing.
And no one cares.
Never
And there
bothered
wasn't
me.
a guy who was like, man, I feel like I'm totally into dudes now. Because no one cares. No one cares because he pulls out his sword and it's like, bzz, let's do this shit. And he just runs around and murders things and dudes fly through the air and explode. And you're like, that was incredible. And the same thing's happening here. And I just feel like it doesn't matter at this point. If it's a spectacle fighter, the spectacle isn't the person doing it. The spectacle is what they're doing and how it's happening. And I think that's the key. And I don't think they do anything that makes it like, what? Like, you're right. There are random shots every now and again, but I think what she's doing isn't like, I'm destroying this thing because I'm showing you how sexy I am. It's like, I'm so effing powerful that I'm wrecking
I
it.
am
shit.
powerful and I am sexy and you can deal with it is more how it
love
comes
that.
across.
I love
and I
that.
love that.
Yeah, there's a brazen abandon in that character, I feel. It's like, look, I am performing for myself right here. Like, I am exercising all of my power and I don't give a shit about shit who knows about it, you know? That to me is pretty great.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Definitely, I love that game. I think more people should play that game for sure. But don't get a digital download. Don't do it. Just get the physical copy, you dummies.
Can I like to admit when I'm wrong. I like to say when I'm wrong. I say a lot of things that are wrong and then later admit it. I said in this podcast in the past that I was worried for Nintendo because I didn't see anything they had on there. There's nothing that I liked. I had a Wii U for a long time, and I never played anything on it. And how I was like, oh, PlayStation and Xbox. And I think personally, I have been on my Wii U more in the last 4 months than I have on
Totally.
any of the
I
other
have.
consoles.
Me too.
I only
I
turned
feel
on my
like-
PS4 to play Fibbage. That was it.
I'm telling you, I haven't touched the other. I play except for when I played and hated Destiny. I have not touched the other consoles. I haven't turned on my Xbox One in months, and I feel like I need to say as a person who was like, God, Wii U, man, Wii U just sucks, and there's nothing that they can do, and they're just gonna. I was wrong. I feel like the Wii U out of nowhere was like, we played the long game, bitches. And I'm like, I'm in. And you guys got me. You got me. And now the Nintendo Direct tomorrow, I guarantee whatever they're gonna announce is gonna be fantastic because they can only go up.
Well, they did that big thing about Smash Brothers, didn't they? It was like, here's 50 new fucking features. We're going to announce 5-player. Now we're going to announce 6. Now 7. Now 8, blah, blah. It's like, whoa, okay. And they very much differentiated the 3DS version. I was playing that earlier today, and it's fine, it's okay. But it's obvious like the Wii U version is going to be so much fucking different and is going to have so much more to offer than the 3DS version. Which is, of course, why they released the 3DS version first, to get you to buy both, because they're motherfuckers. But regardless, yeah, that console actually has some games on it. It's already got Mario Kart 8, or 9, I can't remember which one it is at this point. It's got that Mario Kart game. It's really good.
Because it looks like the track, and they finally got to do that.
Mario Kart's good.
It's great.
Smash Brothers is probably going to be good. I imagine that the sequel to Xenoblade is going to be pretty good, and it looks like there's a bunch of other games that might be good. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's good. It has good video games.
I have to say it. They came out of nowhere and surprised me. I'm very thrilled that it's good.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
And I'll tell people I'll play good games on whatever platform they happen to be on. And like right now, the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 seem to be battling over who can have the lowest fucking frame rate. Like we're gonna release our game.
Zing.
It's gonna have 30 FPS and it's gonna have these black cinematic bars. You know, what? That doesn't help anybody. Oh my! They are literally like whipping their dicks out and saying, "Look at how cinematic we are." Like they're trying to beat each other on the graphics front, whereas they should be trying to beat people on the fucking gameplay front. And putting out really good quality titles. And so far, frankly, neither of them have. Neither have managed it. And then there's a Wii U just trucking along with this wonderful hardcore 60 FPS game that's fucking sublime and is well on track to being my game of the year at the moment because it's that fucking good. Mm-hmm. Guess which console is getting my time? Yeah, the one with the good video games on it.
Yeah, came out of nowhere. I fully remember being like, I'm really worried about Nintendo's future, and I think they're just blowing it. And now I don't believe that at all. It may be just me and the people that I know, and I don't know that translates to society at large. But everyone I know, no one's touching their PlayStation 4, Xbox, and everyone who went to play Destiny, and everyone who convinced me to go play Destiny, and everyone who kept playing Destiny and pushed me to get to 20, by the time I got to 20, they weren't playing anymore. So here I am, wasting all my damn time playing that stupid game, and no one gives a shit. F you, Destiny. You are garbage, and I never want to play you again. I'm still pissed about that. Ugh. The worst. Worst game ever.
All right, why don't I take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the games we've been playing this week, and then we'll wrap on into the news, and there's some sad news, unfortunately, in this. Ugh. Yeah. Unfortunate. All right, well, we'll be bringing you that. We'll be the bearers of bad news for you right after the break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Co-optional Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. We're eating again, are we? That's not even real food. You're eating fucking Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
What kind is that?
You're just doing this to piss me off now, aren't you? I get the idea. Humans need food to survive. Sustenance is important. 3-hour podcast fairly long, but you are literally eating ice cream right now.
Press F to eat ice cream.
I'm gonna press F to disrespect at this point. Jesus. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. So what else have you been playing this week?
Ziggurat? You played Ziggurat, right?
Yes. Ziggurat's pretty good.
That game, super fun. Way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I didn't realize that it was entirely randomized. So the first time that I died, when I played again, I was like, whoa, this dungeon is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's
all of my
themed.
abilities completely different.
Yeah, they themed the tile sets, but otherwise they're randomly generated. And like you get it, by default, you'll have a room in the center which will give you a weapon to start with, and then everything else is like, okay, there's going to be a boss room somewhere, there's going to be a key room somewhere, but everything else is randomized.
It's so cool because I got really, really into Binding of Isaac, and I feel like this is a first-person wizard version of Binding of Isaac.
Kind of.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, have you played Rebirth yet, or is that
Isn't that
not what
just
you're
that's
talking
just
about?
out today, right?
Yeah, I
Cool.
think it just came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played it totally blind. Just played it on stream. And at first when I opened it up, there were a lot of frame rate issues, or like lots of frame rate issues along with lots of weird blurring issues. And I turned lots of stuff off and changed things, and nothing seemed to be changing. And I was like, maybe I just can't play this game. Unfortunately, I just restarted the game and it was perfectly fine after that. So if you have that issue, just restart the game, because it's totally worth figuring out how to get it to play right, because it's so fun. I just love the fact that I got to the final boss, right, while I was playing on stream, and I got annihilated. I got my butt totally whooped. But because the game has that element of like, well, next time maybe you'll get different items, I was like, maybe next time I'll do better.
one more try.
Yeah, I wanted to just play again immediately. And I love that. I love games that make me feel that way. Also games where you know that there are secret rooms all over the place. Every single room I went into, I was like, gotta search for cracks. Gotta find that crack. gotta get that secret room. Mm-hmm.
It is a very good game. It's the best first-person roguelite that I've played in ever. I mean, I played things like Tower of Guns. They had some interesting ideas, but they kind of failed on one thing, and that was the combat just didn't feel very good. And I think it was down to the fact you were stuck with one weapon. In Ziggurat, you can have up to 4, and they've got main attacks and alternate attacks as well. And there's a good variance of different weapons you can get. And the more you play, the more you unlock. I dig it. I really do. Mm-hmm. Movement system's good as well. Nice and quick. A lot of circle strafing. Very, very Quake. Certainly. Yeah, I hope they keep developing that, add some more stuff into it. I'm still unlocking stuff in that game. There's a lot of stuff to unlock, and that's one of the great things about it as well. Almost every time you play, you unlock something new for your next playthrough. So
new items and things.
Exactly. So that increases the variance and makes things more interesting. So yeah, Ziggurat is great. I love that. I'd heartily recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, played a lot of that. A lot of Bayonetta 2. I know I've played other things. I'm trying to think of what they are. Oh, I played... Fuck. Okay, because Halloween
I'm sorry,
week.
what? I'm sorry, what?
Because Halloween week, I played Alien Isolation and SCP Containment Breach. Alien Isolation, I wouldn't say is a... People who watched are going to disagree that I felt this way, but I wouldn't say that it's a scary game. It made me panic a lot, because things would happen where I was like, I don't know what to do, and I would panic. But I don't think that it's a scary game, right? It reminds me a lot of the first Dead Space, where I was just like, I would get overwhelmed, right? But I never felt terrified, like I didn't want to move on because I was just so terrified. I never felt that way with Dead Space. And I didn't feel that way with Alien Isolation either. It was just kind of like, oh, God, I know that I'm going to walk into this situation where I'm going to be overwhelmed and I'm not going to know what to do. And I'm just going to like panic and freak out and throw the controller, right? So Sam and I played that together. And I think that game's fun. That's a game that I enjoyed, but I'm not good at because the second that the androids are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not playing this game anymore, I guess, because you found me. So, but yeah, it's cool. It's got a nice aesthetic to it. And then, and then I played SCP Containment Breach. That game was suggested so many times for me to play. I was like, all right, I'll look into it. So I looked into it and I was like, this doesn't seem that bad. So immediately, the second that I was like, yeah, I'm going to play SCP Containment Breach, Sam and I are going to play it. Immediately, I had so many messages from people I know being like, that's maybe the fucking scariest game I've ever played in my life. And I was like, no! So there was also Jesse, who said, it's a game where really you just walk around in corridors and not a lot happens. So you're probably fine. And I was like, okay. So then those two opinions kind of turned into this constant terrified feeling of, when is something going to happen to me? When is something going to happen to me? And I was so scared. Like, there were multiple times where I would just pause and then we would go to the wiki and read about different SCPs that we had found. Mm-hmm. And that made it really fun because the lore for the SCPs is dope. Like reading about them is super awesome.
Yeah.
But man, playing the game just fucking messed me up. It's like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm gonna die. Like just freaking out. But the lore around that game made me appreciate it a lot more. So yeah. I wouldn't recommend that game because it's fucking terrifying. But but we had fun. We had fun, and we wound down with playing a bunch of Cards Against Humanity, so it all worked out in the end. But shit, that game fucking scared me. It scared me so bad. I had nightmares 2 nights in a row. Well, one night I had nightmares. The second night, I couldn't fall asleep for a really long time.
But you blame the game for that anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because in my mind, I kept being like, SCPs aren't real. There's no SCPs in my room. I'm not going to look over there and see an old man crawling out of the floor trying to corrode my body. That's totally not going to happen. But then I'd hear something happen downstairs and I'd be like, somebody's in my house.
Ugh.
Somebody broke into my house. Somebody's going to kill me, right? It would translate into a more plausible, terrible situation where I was like, Sam, somebody's in the house. Sam's just like, fucking asleep. He's like, whatever. Just like losing my mind.
I can't play horror games for the very same reason, frankly. I have an overactive imagination, and that stuff will constantly be in my head if I do that.
Yeah, man.
It's not great. Not a good situation to be in.
Yeah, Sam was saying that like the playing a game where you don't really have an out, like pretty much most of the time in that game, if a monster showed up, we were fucked, right? We were just like, well, yeah, I don't know how to get out of this situation. But for him, it's much more scary if like they chase you or there's some sort of element that way where the scary bits kind of are elongated. Whereas for me, the scary part was that nothing was happening, right? For me, it was scary just walking around waiting for something terrifying to happen. That was what messed me up the most out of anything else. So like, I'm doomed. I'm screwed. Scary games. I was the Davis is really what I'm saying. I was Sam's Davis that night. Where he would have to just like take over anytime. I was like, ah! Just like pausing for no reason.
Oh,
I like how you finished just by eating. You're pausing for no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a dumb mobile game I could talk
Which
about.
is?
It's called Hold Your Horses. It's an Adult Swim game.
That better be the name of the game. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. The game.
Wait, damn it. Why don't you tell me the name of you? It just says AX, but I know it's something express. Fuck, I'm not even going to be able to explain this correctly because I don't know the actual name of the game. AX.
So far, so great.
AX is all it says. It's a game where you're a little mail carrier, but you're trying to carry mail in a world where there are like monsters attacking you all the time. So you have to attack monsters in all of the places that you're trying to deliver mail, and it's cute. It's a cute game, but I can't. It just says AX. The app just says AX, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help. But this is what the game looks like. You walk around all these different places, and then you get gold, and then you can buy really dumb-looking outfits that help you, and you can do magic, and it's fun. There's me! Wait, can I zoom in? Oh, I can only zoom in a little. That's me!
I don't even see what that is.
Right there. That's me. Ah, fuck. It's like, you want to battle? No, I just wanted to show everybody how cool I look in my weird fish costume.
I see. Well then.
Wow, that looked like so much fun. That looked like a ton of fun, Dodger. Wow.
I hate you.
That was intense.
TB, what have you been playing?
I actually did play a mobile game as well, although it wasn't like that one. 40,000
I'm
Space
shocked.
Wolf, the card game. It's actually all right, mostly. It plays like, you remember that game on PSP, Metal Gear Acid, which was basically like a...
Metal Gear ass.
No, you clearly don't. Okay, it was like a card game mixed with sort of a tactical battle game. Spaceball's kind of like that, but it's free to play, which is potentially horrible. But I bought some cards in it and the Terminator armor set, and it's reasonably fun. It's definitely got some problems, like in order to fire in that game, you gotta fucking spend a card to do it. It's infuriating because the AI has this annoying tendency of running right beside you. And they're just like, they're right next to your face, like, hey. And it's like, you're gonna have to spend a card to shoot me. And like, my arm is here. I could fucking backhand the fuck out of you right now. And you're gonna make me spend a card to turn to do it. That is infuriating. But outside of that, it's a fairly fun deck builder with sort of tactical elements. You run around with a small squad of space wolves, and you've got a bunch of cards which represent different weapons, and you pull the weapons out of your magical space backpack, and you shoot them in the face with them. It's all right. It's not bad. It's a decent enough game. I imagine that being very good at it probably costs a lot of money. So hopefully that's not true, but it was okay. So I played that. Played Borderlands, then stopped playing Borderlands.
Lol. I was
And then
going to
we'll
say,
not play any
why,
more Borderlands.
why did you even try? You already know you hate those games.
Yeah, I know. I already know I hate it. You know, I'm predisposed to hate the game. I have a bunch of problems with Borderlands that I've explained in great detail, and the game solved precisely none of them. And I didn't expect it to. So, it's okay. I will give them credit. They were very clear that game was just going to be more of the same. And I didn't like what they gave me. So, it's that simple. Don't like it.
Adventure Express is the name of the mobile
I
game.
see. Okay.
Oh, AX, I get it now.
What?
AX. You kept saying it's AX. It's AX.
Right.
Adventure Express. I
Yeah,
get it.
that's the acronym.
It makes
Yeah.
sense.
All right.
Except it should be AE, but
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
No.
The X is for extreme gaming.
It's like
I played a bit of
Aguilera
Fantasy Life on 3DS. Fantasy Life?
What's that like?
No idea. I haven't played enough of it to figure it out. Like, people said, oh, it's kind of a mixture of Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing with a bit of kind of recipe thrown in there.
Oh, Lord.
So you get to pick like a bunch of different traits and jobs. Like, I picked Blacksmith, which I assume has no fighting in it at all. Like, you can pick various like fighting classes, but you can be a tailor or you can be a woodsman and things like that. And I picked Blacksmith, so I spent the first 30 minutes running around a town being educated by this blacksmith that keeps yelling at me. And you've got to do a bunch of mini games to forge items and stuff. And I have no fucking idea what's going on. It's that simple.
Sounds awesome though. It sounds like more of an expanded version of Rune Factory.
Yeah, it seems like it's got a bit of a whiff of that, I gotta say. But I think I'm gonna have to play several hours to figure out what exactly this game is. I don't know what it is.
The important part is, can you woo people?
There is a bliss meter, which I assume has something to do with that. I went to the pet vendor, and apparently I don't have enough bliss to own a pet, so I was very sad. It's like, but I would be more blissful if I had a pet.
Yeah,
surely.
wait, what?
But pets help with bliss, right?
Oh, God.
Boo. Boo.
You gotta be
game.
happy with yourself before you can be happy with a pet. Dodger.
Apparently
That's
so.
the-
Yeah.
That's the moral here.
That's not how my life has worked at all.
Yeah, it's so far it is kind of like Job the video game. It's like I'm running around getting ingots and things, and I don't know. It supposedly you can do multiple jobs and eventually like be able to do everything, but it seems like it might be a lot of work to get to that point. I don't know at this point. I have no idea what's going on.
What's the name
with
of that again?
Fantasy Life.
That's right. I keep
It
forgetting
is
about
by a company that is it's by level 5, so they make good things that I know, and it's kind of been a under the radar sort of hype thing. A lot of people on gaming websites have said, yeah, like Fantasy Life is going to be awesome, and that's possibly true. I just kind of haven't got to the point where I view it as awesome yet. You know, it's the same company that made Dragon Quest VIII, Rogue Galaxy, Dark Cloud, Jeanne d'Arc, for instance. Loads of really good stuff. Nina Kuni, of course, was by level 5. They know what they're doing. They do, but I'm just not 100% sure on this one yet. I'll give it a bit more time. But I have no idea what this game is yet.
Now
It
I
sounds
gotta
like my
get
jam.
it.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
made an ingot. I made a copper ingot through a series of mini games.
I'm so proud of you.
And there's this butterfly that won't leave me alone. It talks.
Is it named Jesse?
It's really attached. Like it It's an overly attached butterfly. It has issues, I feel. Mm-hmm. So there is a bit of a problem there. But outside of that, it seems like it might be interesting-ish if you are willing to put enough time into it. As it stands, I am probably not willing to put enough time into it. But we'll see. We will see. Also, for some reason, the view count claims it's plummeted to 48, which is strange, because we have thousands of people in the chat.
48 of you.
Yes. It's like there are more than 200 people in the chat with the letter A as the first letter of their name. I think we have more than that. But never mind.
But only 49 are actively watching.
Yeah,
only,
something like that.
Everyone else is just in chat talking.
Pretty much. Outside of that, I haven't really played much, frankly. So I suppose we can move on to the news.
Oh, yeah.
So we move on to the sad news. Is that how it's going to be?
Yeah.
Dawngate is shutting down, as we have discovered quite recently. I would love to give you the quote from the website, but the website is dead. So quite literally, they killed the website as well. So the claim is that Dawngate will shut down service within 90 days. The quote from Matt Bromberg, the group general manager, is thus: "Today I have the unenviable task of announcing that we have decided to stop development of Dawngate. I know this is disappointing news for our community, which has been so supportive and loyal. To all of you who have graciously given us time and valuable feedback during the beta period, we'd like to thank you. Whenever you begin a game project, you do so with great hopes and expectations. In this case, we chose to enter a new genre for EA in MOBA, one that we knew was going to be extremely competitive. We built a game in Dawngate that simply wasn't a clone of existing MOBAs, but one that truly pushed the genre forward in many ways. Dawngate's been in beta for 18 months, including a full open beta for the past 6 months. Through that time, we've taken a lot of feedback from players and delivered lots of new features and innovations. And although the game has grown, we're not seeing the progress we'd hoped for. This isn't the outcome we wanted, but beta testing is about learning and improving, ultimately about making difficult decisions. As for the incredibly talented team of designers, producers, engineers, and artists who have put so much creative energy into Dawngate, the game was truly a labor of love, and it shows with nothing but gratitude for their hard work and pride about what's been accomplished. As part of the process of closing down Dawngate, we'll continue to operate the game for the next 90 days. All players will be entitled to a full refund of any money spent during the beta. For most players, we'll process those refunds within the next 10 days. If you don't have current payment information on file for you, you'll need to reach out, blah, blah, blah. On behalf of the entire team at Waystone Games and EA, we want to once again thank all our players for being part of the journey. Your straight-up feedback and the friendly reception we received all over the world at events is extremely encouraging." Jesus. Wow. That is...
It seems like it happened
That
so
sucks.
fast.
Yeah. Press F to kill Dawngate, apparently.
The Dawn Gate has closed.
It has.
This is one of those things where I would love to know the background
What happened?
information. Look, I think all of us are willing to go out on a limb. No one has any evidence to prove it, but I think everyone's willing to go out on a limb and say this was an EA decision and not a Dawngate decision, because I feel like for as much as you two and the people that I know talked about the game and how much everyone seemed to love it, I don't know anyone else that was paying attention to the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might have had it, because EA, as we all know, EA is the kind of company that's like, I expect 20 billion copies to be sold, and if not, you're all fired. It's like, that's not a real expectation, but okay, we'll try. And I can't help but feel like someone at EA, probably a CEO who has zero experience with games, thought this was, oh, well, MOBAs, people buy skins and new characters and will make a fortune. And I don't think that that's what's happened. That happened in this case. Again, it's all speculation, but I feel like this was a decision that was, we expected billions, we didn't get billions. Can it?
And I can't. If EA thought that, they're out of their goddamn minds, because this is an incredibly competitive genre right now.
It's EA we're talking about.
You have several games in this genre that have a multi-million player base. That's huge. LoL, of course, has the most, but Dota 2 has over 10 million players. That we know. And Smite has several million. That I also know. I don't know about the rest of them, but I know at least those 3 games have a multi-million player base. That is very hard to compete with. And making the assumption that you're going to be able to do it easily, well, that's very strange. I mean, this is obviously complete speculation. You shouldn't take any of this as fact, but this smells a great deal like EA pulling the plug on something that wasn't the runaway success that they perceived it to be. And it was really sad, because I heard that they were making some plans to change the business model and things like that. I don't think the business model is amazing, but I totally understand why so many games go for the you've got to pay for characters thing or unlock them in currency. And I like the fact that that game had a random chance of unlocking characters. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it had a generous rotation. It had a lot of characters in that rotation. And because that game was very flexible with your roles, it wasn't just a case of, oh shit, well, we've only got one support. No, loads of people can be support because they can all choose different roles within the game because of the flexible meta system.
It was such
That's
a good
sad
game.
to me.
It's like literally the only MOBA I've ever played where I was like, I feel like I could get like pretty good at this. Like I feel like I kind of understand it, you know?
Yeah.
And it just bums me out.
Yeah, that is pretty depressing for me. I play Dota, and I'm pretty hardcore into Dota, and I love Dota, and I'll defend its design decisions to the death for the most part. And I moved away from League of Legends, but Dawngate to me felt like it had a different feel. And it had some different ideas, and I could play my character in a different way. And I dug that. I really did. It had a nice visual design. It had a good character variety. It had some nice lore going for it. It had kind of League of Legends-esque
the comic
combat,
book was so good. Oh, man. I'm just remembering all these things.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
this flat out sucks. It's simple as that. I mean, I hope there's maybe a way for, and I'm sure there isn't because Waystone was formed by EA in the first place out of what was left of the Dark Sport team. I just say, wouldn't it be great if they sold it to another company? But, oh man, this stings for me. It really does because it seemed like that game had a future. And now it won't, it seems.
I mean, Sam and I went to Gamescom with them. We hung out with the whole team, spent a lot of time with them. And it's a bummer.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I think, is this possibly the point where companies stop trying to make Dota-style MOBA games? Is it the point where, is this the bubble bursting? Is this the first sign of that? I wonder.
If another one does well, then no. But if there is another big success, then you're probably right. It's probably a downward slope at this point. But if another company can pull off a success, I think the big indicator will be to see what Heroes does.
Yes.
See how that does.
Well, Heroes is so different.
Heroes is super different, though.
It's so different that it's really hard to compare it to other games.
But it's another entry into that.
It's technically in the same genre,
yeah.
But I mean, you'd have to be really reductive to say that Heroes is very similar to LoL or anything like that, because it's not. It fucking isn't at all.
But it's actively trying to pool those players.
Oh yeah, totally, totally.
And so I think it's entering into that space. Whether or not it's a MOBA, it's still in that space. And I feel like if that's a success, then you'll see more companies trying to jump back in. But I think right now it's very dangerous. It's kind of like MMORPGs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's just
Sorry, go ahead.
All I was going to say is that if people stop making MOBAs, we're going to have the same sort of situation where there's just a monopoly, right? But right now there kind of is already a monopoly on MOBA players, which, kind of sucks. I wish there was more of a way for companies to compete.
It's difficult. And a lot of the ways that they have to do it is to provide a business model that means that you're not investing so much money into another Dota-style game, or MOBA, whatever you want to call it. We'll just call it MOBA for the sake of conversation. I hate the term MOBA, by the way, because it means fucking nothing. Almost everything's a multiplayer online battle arena. We've got to get a better word for this. But whatever the case, the problem is with League of Legends or anything like that, it's the same thing that people said 5 or 6 years ago when it said, if you have a WoW everyone has a WoW subscription. So if you try and charge a sub, you're going to be in trouble because everyone already pays for a WoW sub and most people are not willing to pay for a second monthly sub. It's a similar situation with LoL. If you've invested money in a game like that, you don't want to invest money into another game like that. Mm-hmm. So Dota got around it by making everything free. Smite got around it by allowing you to buy all the gods for a $30 flat rate, which seems to work.
Smart.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked. That game has several million active players. Smite is doing well.
Right.
Heroes is, we don't know how that's going to do. It's got Blizzard behind it, but frankly, that game's business model is not a good one. Having to buy the heroes in the way that you do, the heroes are expensive. The heroes are I mean,
Rhaegar, $8.99.
the skins are expensive. It's a pricey game, and I have a feeling that if they want... here's what I think Blizzard's business strategy should be, right? Heroes to me is the Smash Brothers, right? It's the game where everyone who kind of plays fighting games can get around and play like a brawl of like 4 to 8 players or whatever and have a good time without really knowing much. Because, Smash Brothers, yes, it's an esport and it has very complex ideas at the high level, but at the basic level, all of your abilities are like A, up A, side A, B, up B, blah, blah, blah. It's very easy to grasp the basic moves. Heroes of the Storm kind of feels like that because you don't have to worry about item builds. You really don't have to worry about the order in which that you get your abilities. There are some builds with the talents that work very well, but there aren't really that many wrong answers. You don't have to worry about losing gold when you die. You don't really have to worry too much about feeding. Your entire team has the same experience, which means that you can the idea of someone carrying really isn't a thing. It's very much a team effort, and there's no real persistence going on. And I think what you can do is you offer heroes to people, and it's kind of a game that bridges the gap between communities. It's like, I've got a friend that plays Dota. I got a friend that plays Smite. Let's all get together and play heroes because it's so quick. We can jump into that. We don't need to worry about anything. There's like no 1,000-hour learning curve. We just get together and we have a good time as a team, and then we kind of leave it. That's to me what heroes is. And I think if Blizzard tries to be anything more than that, then it will fail.
I think it's very good. They still have the term technical alpha. I know a lot of people are like, it's playable and it looks
technical
like...
alpha is meaningless. I mean,
but I think it covers their ass very well because there are a lot of things that don't make sense in the game right now. And as a person who is playing the game at BlizzCon on a stream, I should be like, oh, it's the best game ever made. But there are definitely some things that are like the fact that you need to level up a character to get access to all the abilities. I think it makes things unfair immediately. And it puts some people off because if you go into a game where you only have access to 2 out of 5 or 4 abilities per each leveling up experience that you have, and the other team doesn't, you're already down. And so there are all these different things inherently that I think need to be fixed and addressed. And I think by having it as technical alpha, they cover their ass with this because you're right. I think you're very right, TB, that there's a lot of things, especially some of the pricing. Some of the pricing's ridiculous. Like the fact that it's like $9 for a hero is insane. But, that's, I think they're very good about when they do make changes, they give you your money back and they're like, spend it how you will. So I'm okay with those changes. So we'll see what happens. But I think they're doing a good job by keeping it as technical alpha because a lot of things need to change over time.
Yeah. I do like the fact that they took away a lot of that ridiculous talent leveling thing from that game, but it's still there. Like, it really is still there, and it really puts people off from trying new characters because they know they're going to be a burden on the team for the first few games until they get all their stuff. Like, there are some characters where the default abilities you get are useless. I keep pointing to Zeratul, the 2 talents that you start with. For those who don't know, right? Every time, like every 5 levels or so, or I think it's 4 levels, in Heroes, you unlock a talent, and they're all mutually exclusive. So you pick from a list, and that's it. Now, when you start first playing a hero, unless you've leveled that hero up in your account, you only get access to kind of a newbie set. The problem is the newbie set fucking sucks. Like with Zeratul, it was like extra health from picking up health orbs, versus the main abilities, which are like, here's a cleave, and all this other useful stuff. It's horrible.
Here's the thing, though, and I think this is something that they need to find. My team and I, for BlizzCon, were talking about this because it is something that everyone seems to notice. Is at the beginning when you're first playing, that is a very helpful thing to have. Is to be like you only have these 2. We're not going to overwhelm you. You're not going to have to like figure out immediately what to do. You get 2 things to choose from each time, and it should be very simple on how you want to play. Either you're going to play this way or this way. And at the beginning, when you first start playing, man, that is really helpful. Later on, when you have to do, after you've been playing for a while and you have a bunch of characters you like, later on, it becomes a pain because suddenly now you're skilled, you're good to go, you know what you want to play, and suddenly you're back at the beginner level again. And it's like, I have to do this. And the game punishes you for losing so much at the beginning. If you win your first game at level 1, you bump to level 4 if you're in a party immediately.
If it was a fairly long game and you got bonuses and you're with friends, yes, you can actually get level 4 in one game.
You pass everything, and it's like, that's great. But if you have nothing, and you lose, sometimes you may not even hit level 2. That's happened to me, where you got your butt beat so bad that you now have to go through another game, and then another game.
Another game being a burden. Being a burden to your team. You know,
you're just being doubly punished for this, and that's something that it needs to change. Like, that is a big flaw with the game. I agree with you.
I can't
100%.
remember if it was like Elite Tauren Chieftain or whatever that had a lot of really essential talents that you need to be a good tank in that game. You just don't get until level 4. And this is always confusing to people because they're like, what do you mean level 4? Does that mean in game? So your account has levels. Each individual character has an account bound level, but also, of course, when you go into game, your character levels up differently every time. So you start at level 1, you level up to 20, blah, blah, blah. So it's a bit confusing. There's an element of persistence in the game, and I do not agree with that persistence being there. I really don't. You don't need that. It doesn't help you learn the character, because if I play Elite Tauren Chieftain with those basic stats and those basic abilities, I have no utility. I can't do shit. When I first played ETC, I didn't even realize what was going on with that character. I was like, this character's useless. And then once I unlocked everything, like, oh, now I see what this character is. If they were going to start you with a basic set of abilities, they should start you with abilities that are actually tuned in to the way that character's supposed to be played, and they don't. And I think
they give you the basics. Like if you're going to play, a healer, for example, here's your heal. And here's the thing that improves your heal. But it isn't, you're right, it isn't until later that you see, like, the potential for your character. And there are some characters where you think are supposed to go one direction, and then when you unlock all the abilities, you're like, oh, no, why would anyone play that way? And
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem is as well that a lot of the ultimate abilities, like, you get to choose 2, and one of them's usually just, like, objectively better than the other. So they often give you the useless one first, then it's a fucking nightmare as a result. But I'll give them credit, they are trying to fix that. They are definitely trying to fix that. But yeah, it's... I really think that just needs to go, honestly.
It's the technical alpha, guys.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be fixed.
Again, I think that's why
No, we don't use that attitude. Absolutely not. Games just randomly come out. It's like, that's what we said with fucking Space Base. Yeah, guys, totally going to be fixed. Oh, we released it. Oh, it's missing half the content? Well, that's the realities of San Francisco development. We picked the most expensive place in the fucking world to develop in. We're suddenly surprised we can't afford to make our game. But here's a party, and Phil Fisher's DJing it.
I'm just going to sip this drink and pretend like that wasn't a thing that happened.
I could never live in San Francisco. That place is it's like a parody of itself. It's so silly. I cannot handle it. It's not grounded in reality like everywhere else is. It's its own little planet. And that planet has a very strange atmosphere, and they inhale the atmosphere, and they think strange things.
Yes.
That is San Francisco to me. Every time I've been there, that's how I felt.
That is certainly an opinion.
Oh. Suck my beats and choke on them. DJ Fish Sticks.
Oh, goodness.
There was no second song. Oh, my. Okay. I'm sorry. The idea of Phil Fish DJing anything is just too funny to me. I can't. My ability toucan has flapped off into the distance, and it's all.
You better not make
fault.
any song requests. Don't do it. 0 requests.
Suck my beats.
Please suck my beats. Hey, please suck my beats.
Compare your set to mine, then kill yourself.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
What other news is there?
I don't know. San Francisco is silly is not news.
We were talking earlier about the Nintendo Direct, so we could talk about the Nintendo news because they might.
I mean, we could. We don't know what's coming, though, right? We have no idea.
Well, they are.
I mean, I know that's never stopped Kotaku, but seriously, what are we going to talk about here?
Oh, well, it has been discussed that in an investor meeting, Satoru Iwata was like, yo, guys, I think maybe we should get rid of region blocking.
Okay, that's
smart.
fair.
Which could be something that comes up in Nintendo Direct if they're actively pursuing it right now, which they might not be. But.
Nintendo's a weird duck when it comes to that because they had until I believe it was the 3DS that they started really region blocking. With the DS, they didn't at all. I remember buying a DS at 2005 BlizzCon from a GameStop and taking it home and playing everything on it because great. But now it's like, I would love to buy one of these new DSs with a little stick, but I know that it's not going to fucking work with any of my games, so there's some weird stuff going on there. And I don't know what it is about region blocking in 2014 that really makes a huge degree of sense anymore, especially when a lot of these Japanese games are coming with either English subtitles or actual English audio on them.
Yeah.
They literally have it.
Does that mean we can actually get the amazing European and Japanese 3DSs that are actually good? Oh, God,
Jesse.
I want that. I know,
Yeah.
right?
That'd be great.
Screw that faceplate crap. I'm going to get the good ones that come. Oh, man. Sign me up. Go Nintendo. Consistently surprising me. I am all for that. I think TB's right. It's nonsense to have in a
It doesn't
world
make any
that
sense
is
anymore.
in a world that's like increasingly becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. It makes no sense to have things region locked because regions are starting to make less and less sense as is. So.
Yeah, we're in an
Good
age
on
of
them.
digital
Good on them.
distribution, you know? And even before that, it didn't make any goddamn sense anyway. If someone wants to go to Japan and buy a Japanese version of a game and take it home and play it at home, well, why the fuck can't they? That's entirely up to them. Isn't that the right
Yeah.
of the consumer? But
And
we
that's-
live in a world where places... You remember, I think it was Lixang a long time ago, where Sony basically sued them out of existence, a company that was exporting things like PSPs and Sony Japanese games. They sued the shit out of them. Do you really think that would happen in 2014? It seems like the market is just so fundamentally different now that sort of thing seems absurd to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'd love to see is an announcement of Monster Hunter 4 on Wii U. That would be good. Instead of saying,
Yeah, that's all I
Monster
want in the
4,
world.
play it on 3DS. No! I don't want to play on 3DS. It's literally the worst format. Come on.
It just doesn't. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel
play
good.
well. The fucking
Yeah.
screen's too small. The controls are terrible. Come on.
All I
Don't do
want in the
that.
world, Nintendo. All I want in the world is Monster Hunter 4 on Wii U.
In the world.
In the
That's it.
world.
In the world.
If I could choose between Monster Hunter 4 on Wii U and World Peace, I would choose Monster Hunter 4.
Yeah.
Vote for me.
The region
I
locking
feel
is...
like World Peace is more achievable than Monster Hunter 4 on Wii U.
I'm just saying, if we achieve world peace, we'd have more time to develop Monster Hunter 4 for Wii U. So
See?
it's just the point.
That's true. Now you're thinking with portals.
Indeed, I am. Some people would like to shove me through them and never see me again, but we can't
Come
always
out
get what we
somewhere,
want.
TV. You can't just go into
Yeah.
a portal.
Yeah, because a portal leads to a portal, right?
And those people are dummies.
Can we have a new Advance
Yeah.
Wars? I think it's about time. About time for new Advance Wars.
Yeah, man.
That'd be good.
I'm
I'd
down
do
to see. I'm excited for tomorrow. I want to see what they come up with.
I'm intrigued. You know, there is
Yeah.
an interesting point about Nintendo Direct that I'd like to bring up. And
Yes.
I'm noticing a bit of a shift, and maybe you guys have noticed this, maybe you don't. The traditional games press are becoming increasingly less relevant because a lot of these developers and publishers are using things like YouTube and Twitch to just show their own shit off.
Yep.
Which means that these previews and a lot of the good old we're going to aggregate your press release stuff that's been happening with Games Press is becoming increasingly less relevant. Are you on the same page with me on that one? Do you think that's true?
Oh, I've said that forever. I functionally believe that games journalism is as we know it is on the out. I think there's definite space for new, improved versions of it, but as we know it right now, it's a superfluous
Redundant.
thing added on to it. It doesn't make any sense, but that's just how I view it. I'm sure there's someone out there who must have their next PC game magazine copy, but not me.
I read a magazine, Noel, I'll tell you that for a fact. It seems
Yeah,
to
that's
me
it.
that the kind of aggregation those sites used to do is now being done by aggregator sites like Reddit. So it's not that I'm going to miss out on something. I'll always be able to find it because if it's interesting, it probably got posted on a Reddit game board somewhere. So, you know, and if I want to know about PC gaming, I'll hang around the PC gaming subreddit. If I want to just know things about general gaming, I'll hang around the game subreddit. There's individual subreddits for individual games that post news.
The only people that hurts right now are small indie companies because they get lost in, like, if you're talking about Reddit, they get lost in the shuffle of like a big game's coming out. Oh my God, everyone's really hyped for it.
Yeah.
We as consumers now can make our own hype and get excited about our own games, and we don't need press releases to remind us that X is coming out. Because trust me, we know it's coming out, and we're all very excited for it. It's
Yeah,
the
because you
small
released
games
30 fucking trailers in the last week or whatever.
Yeah.
We know.
It's the small games that get pushed aside and that we miss out on. And I feel for those people, but at the same time, I don't know that, you know, the traditional gaming media gave a shit about them anyway. I almost feel like they never did. It was always about like, are you hyped for this new game? Because we're all going to play Evolve. Like, look at Evolve right now. Everyone, their brother's hyping this thing up. And again, little tiny small games are screaming like, maybe you could talk about us once. And you just... You tend to feel very bad for them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
why do you think I focused on indies? You know, there's needs to be someone to do it. And it's not like the traditional games press ignore indies. I think there are definitely some sites that do, but there are people within the games press that absolutely post a lot of indies. Some to the point where it's so ludicrously obscure that I don't even know why they're doing it. But yeah, there are sites that do that. And I think that actually there's a big place for them. Because in terms of that, they're actually not so much writing news, they're creating news, they're curating. That's kind of their role. And I know Kotaku, they said lately that they want to focus more on writing post-release stuff about games instead of posting, here's the latest press release from whatever. They want to get away from that. And I dig that. I think that's good. And I think that Games Press still kind of has a role to play because YouTubers certainly can't fill that gap on their own. Like, it's impractical. There's so much shit that goes on a daily basis. We can't make like 30 videos a day covering all this news stuff. And frankly, gaming news shows don't do that well on YouTube. They don't.
I can attest.
Hi.
Gaming news shows do not.
There are 4 that I know that do reasonably well. Yeah. Inside Gaming, I think, is still the most popular, to the best of my knowledge, and they tend to do like single topic stuff. Content Patch is popular, Daily Bite is reasonably popular, and Force Feed is reasonably popular. And outside of that, there's a lot of places that do gaming news shows that people just don't watch them. Because ultimately, it's just, in my opinion, a bad format for that particular thing.
Yeah. I think Nintendo Direct is really progressive for Nintendo to do. I think them saying, like, we're going to do an entirely digital press release. So anybody who wants to watch it can watch it.
It's a giant ad.
Yeah, it's a huge ad. We'll just make sure that everybody knows it's happening, right? That's really all we have to do. And then the event itself is entirely ours to create. We don't have to rely on anybody else to make it happen and get the word out. I think it's perfect.
There's a weird...
Okay, Jesse, go ahead.
No, I'll say there's a weird level of... Like, I don't even know if I would describe it as honesty about it, but the way they go about promoting themselves, I think is much better than what is being done now, because I think all of us in like the gaming journalism world, we receive the press releases that are sent out, and when we get those and then you just see it copy and pasted on a website, like, did you hear about this game? And it's like, you literally did nothing different with that. You just posted what they sent you.
I see that a lot.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time, and you're just like, that is garbage. Like, why? And I think Nintendo's just bypassing all of that and being like, we'll give you the message we want to give you, and it's much more controlled on their part. And, you know, you can be cynical about it and be like, oh, well, you know, they're the way they're delivering it, they're doing that stuff. It's like, oh, this is perfectly planned thing. Great. I love everything about that. I like that they're like, we're going to show you this and this and this, and we're going to be silly about it and have like some fun Reggie jokes. And they get the internet. And I think a lot of companies don't right now. I feel like they're still trying to feel out what's going on. I think Nintendo finally just was like, all right, no, we get it now. A switch turned on, and they were like, we get what we need to do. And it's not about having a celebrity do it. It's not about having everyone post it or do all this stuff. Nintendo was just like, we are gonna go off of us. We're gonna give them us who we are. Let's do it, and it's worked great so far.
However,
Yeah, because sorry,
Dodge, go ahead.
all I was gonna say is I think also a lot of us are really numb to the marketing strategy of, aren't you an edgy gamer? Don't you want some edgy, cool stuff happening?
Yeah.
Here's some dubstep and hard rock, and here's lots of flashy colors. And we're all just like over it, you know? So having something like Nintendo Direct that, like Jesse was saying, is very honest and kind of childlike and just clean, you know, is very appealing, because you're like, I know exactly what message you wanted me to get out of that, and I don't feel like I was patronized, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I would like to present possible counterpoint to all of this, and, you know, because we're currently singing the praises of this stuff, but is anybody a little bit worried that with the way that we seem to be going is that publishers and their marketing arms and PR companies will take 100% control of every piece of pre-release information and presentation, and as a direct result of that, they are probably going to be enforcing things like launch day review embargoes, and they're going to control the message entirely up to that point. Whereas right now they don't control it entirely. they do allow journalists and games press and YouTubers to play games prior to the release. But a lot of those previews are very positive, like a lot of the time. Usually because they're set up like maybe they're a vertical slice, or in the case of, we found out that Call of Duty Advanced Warfare had a review event that if you had to go to, if you wanted to play the game early and do your review there. And a lot of people, even in games journalism, are very, very cynical about review events because it's a controlled environment and they offer free flights, they offer hotel and food, and credit to them, a lot of outlets refuse that stuff. But particularly for YouTubers, I just feel that maybe their next step in that is to really kind of bedazzle YouTubers and put them in a situation where they become the marketing arm, they're the influencers. And you see that, you see people like Angry Joe going to a Far Cry 4 event, and I don't know if you went to that one, Jesse, and you've been to some events before, and ultimately, like, you're a Let's Player, so it's not really that important, but it just seems to me that even though the previous model was definitely not perfect, and I have very, very rarely seen a preview of a game come from a convention where people have said, oh, yeah, that was not that good. It was usually just kind of a hype piece. I'm still seeing the potential for, like, way too much message control from these publishers, and that disturbs me.
I think lately I've been turning down. I've been invited in the last, because, November's here now. And so all these games are coming out. So the last 2 months, I've been invited to a lot of stuff, and I've turned down literally everything. And the reason why is not because I don't want to play the games. It's because the things I'm being asked to do are essentially to be a part of that marketing arm and to be the hype. And we're going to let you play this game for, 5 hours for a day. But while you're here, you're going to listen to all the cool things we have to say about it. And we're going to provide you with dinner. And you're immersed in the community. So you feel like you're a part of helping this game do good. Because now I'm part of, like, what I feel good about this. And because that's happened before in the past, I just can't do it. Like, I just physically, even though I'm not a reviewer, and even, I personally don't worry too much about, like, if someone's like, oh, you sold out. Like, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not trying to get you to buy it.
You're
I'm
just an entertainer. Games. You're a Let's Player. It's not the same thing at all.
But it's the atmosphere at the event that I just don't like. Like, it's very hyped up and like, you're so excited. Like, we're going to do this. And I think the only ones that I've really been really, like, into is lately for Dragon Age. I've been, like, a very big critic of Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, I want it to be really, really good, and I expect bad things. And so, like, my friend Will, who works at EA, was like, hey, do you want to come in late night one night and just play it? I was like, sure. And so they were doing a press event, like, the next week, but I went in early, and it was literally me and the devs and Will by ourselves. And it was the best experience I had because no one was trying to push it on me. It was literally just us sitting there, and I was like, yeah, okay, so what does this do? And where can I go with this? And why am I doing this? And they'd be like, try that. I was like, well, what's over this direction, right? And it didn't feel sales pushy. It was, sit down, trust us, sit down and play the game. You will like it more than you say you will like it. And I had a great time playing it, and it felt genuine and honest, and it wasn't a douchey, like, sell it moment. And I loved everything about that. I've also had experiences in the last few months that were like, yeah, no, come on by the studio. It'll be great. And it was just 20 people, like, trying to sell you on the idea of this game. And
right.
It's
I can't do it. I just can't do that anymore. I can't handle that because it's just too much. They now have an expectation that you, because they did all this shit for you, are going to help hype their game up.
Well,
and it's like, look, I still think Dragon Age may suck. I don't know, but I had fun when I played it. But no one there was like, you better hype this effing game. It was like a friendly environment where people were just like, chill out and play it. And we had a good time.
The issue with going to any of those events is that it does create cognitive bias, whether you think about it or not. I've had this discussion with several YouTubers, that if you, even the idea that there may be a bias of some description, even if, like, someone offers you, you remember, maybe you don't, I did an interview a few weeks ago where I revealed that a PR company that was representing City Interactive offered me, like, a $3,000 Alienware laptop with a copy of a game on it and said, oh, you can review it on this. I'm like, fuck no. And the worst thing about that was, obviously I didn't take it, but the fact that they even offered me it actually created a cognitive bias in my head. Because they're like, because I'm like, oh God, well, I now know that this was a possibility. Am I going to overcompensate on this video and overly critique the game because they did something like this? You have to try and detach yourself from any form of influence if you want to be a critic. If you want to be a Let's Player, cool. You obviously understand as a Let's Player that you have influence, and it's really important that you don't abuse that, and you're very upfront with your viewers about what's happened. If you want to go to a review event and capture footage for your audience that want to see it, cool. Just be upfront about it. Like, just say, look, this is what I did. But as a critic, you've got to be super careful about the possibility of your opinion being influenced. And those review events, they are set up to do nothing more than influence you. I even changed the way that I did my convention coverage because I felt that even standing next to a dev while playing a game and commentating created this kind of bias within me. Like, I didn't want to shit on his game in front of him. It's just being a basic, decent human being. And I feel that the only way I can be detached is by taking that footage. Sure, I'll listen to what he has to say while I'm playing, but then I go back to my hotel room and then I give my thoughts. I think and that seems like the only way to do it. And I'm just very worried that YouTube simultaneously has provided a great medium for people to express their opinion and really give kind of citizen critique and citizen journalism a chance to get popular and really outmode the old stuff. But simultaneously, we're very vulnerable, potentially, to bias and to kind of just being razzle-dazzled.
I don't want to... I feel like we're in dark territory here because I feel like YouTube in general is also problematic. And just as an example, one of my friends is a video games promoter. He promotes a lot of big time games, but also very, very small games. And so he was asking me like, hey, do you know anyone who would be interested in check out this game, playing this game, seeing the game? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, it looks like a pretty cool game. Who are you looking for? He's like, literally just anyone who would want to check it out. We're not going to pay anything. We're just going to send out free copies and let people make the decisions. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I'll take one. And he's like, yeah, if you know anyone who wants any. And I started looking around and I started dropping him names of people who, had similar things that, similar to me. He contacted all of them and every single one of them was like, yeah, no, for $3,000 I will. And I was like, okay. And so he was like, is there anyone above 400,000 subscribers on YouTube that would do this for free? And I was like,
well, yeah. Hi. I
was like,
what we do.
Right? I was like, that's an inherent problem that YouTubers now are starting to get, that because people are offering so much money and throwing money at YouTubers. Now YouTubers,
some of them are expecting it.
Yeah, they're expecting money, which I think is an inherent problem. Like, I play games I assume the video I make will get me the money that I make money off my videos. I don't need it from a different source. And I don't need to be paid to play a game. I play a game if it's good. And there are some games I'll play and just never upload because it wasn't good and I don't want to put it on my channel. And I feel like that's a problem. Like, I want to say to people, and I've said this before and I'll continue to say it, don't focus on people with X number of subs or above. Send it to everybody. Every single person from 10,000 subscribers to 30 million or whatever, send it to everyone. If you're a small gaming company, make sure everyone has your game, because those guys with no subs, they will play it and they will play it and love you forever for it. And and you will not get biased. They will just be so thrilled that anyone gave a damn.
There's a big difference between the kinds of channels that you got on YouTube. Like, a lot of people like to conflate the idea of Let's Player and reviewer, and it's fucking bullshit. They are completely different roles. Completely different. And there aren't actually that many really kind of big reviewers or critics on YouTube. There aren't a huge number of them because it is a harder thing to do. It's easier just to Let's Play. And once you build an audience, that audience has value, right? And some people in the chat were saying, $3,000 just to play a video game? That's insane. It's not the act of playing the video game that gets you paid that. It's the exposure to the audience. Your audience has value. It's like, why do people spend so much money to advertise at the Super Bowl? Because they know that they've got a huge number of eyeballs on it. And there's added value there too, because the Super Bowl ads have become an event in and of themselves. So it's like, it's the most valuable advertising opportunity on the planet, right? When you put the game in front of a certain audience and demographic, that has value. And it doesn't matter, like, if this guy's playing it, it's like, oh, I'm not getting charged by the hour for this. He is charging how much he believes his audience is worth, and that is entirely reasonable, because what he's doing is basically advertising for you. The thing is, that advertorial must be disclosed. And I get very worried when I hear stories of channels that will just like, oh, well, if you know what,
not.
if you're not, well, one, they're not disclosing, and secondly, well, if you don't pay us, then we're not going to cover your game. That to me that is seedy. If a studio comes to you and offers you money to do something like a tournament or whatever, or if you're a Let's Play channel just to do like a Let's Play of the game, cool. If you want to accept that and disclose it, that's fine. But I think it's when you start to actively hunt for that stuff and say, oh, well, everything that goes on my channel is worth this. That smells bad.
That's a big problem, yeah.
I think I said this when I talked about both Yog Discovery and also with the XB1M13 thing. There should never be an expectation that you are owed money for showing someone's product on your channel. Because the fact of the matter is that the law right now allows you to make money off someone else's product by creating a derivative work. And we should respect that. We should.
Yeah,
our job is
absolutely.
not as hard as game development. We should feel fortunate to be able to create that kind of content. Don't fuck with it. Because if you do and you start to overreach, then you can expect pushback. And I'm fully in support of fair use. Absolutely. At the end of the day, I create critical content that is covered under fair use law. I have the law on my side when I create that. Let's Play, that's a grayer area. And the last thing you want is to get this legislated and find out that you can't make that content anymore because you pushed your luck. That, to me, is a very bad idea. That is slash and burn. That is get out with as much money right now as possible. It's not sustainable, and you shouldn't be fucking doing it, frankly.
Yeah, but I think that comes from I'm gonna say undeserved ego is what I'll say.
Some of it.
I mean, I just think it's an unnecessary thing to be like. I get a lot of people are like, well, if you're good at something, you should be paid for it. I get that's like a thing that exists, but I also feel
You are
like
getting paid for it. You made a video.
You are getting
made ad
paid for
revenue.
it. You're making videos. You have countless subscribers who are following you. Why? Like you're like, oh yeah, no, I'll check it out if you give me money to check it out, because that inherently is a conflict of interest. Like, your opinions then are not your own if you're taking their money for it.
No, they're absolutely not. And I've said this to people time and again, and I don't like this idea. And some people have expressed this like, oh, well, I took money, but don't worry, guys, I'm going to look at the pros and the cons. No, you're inherently biased. Your opinion is now colored. If you want to do that, like, people should not trust your opinion. It's as simple as that. And cool, disclose it, but take that with a big pinch of salt. Whenever I've done brand deals, I can't speak for the rest of you, but I'll speak for me. Whenever I've done a brand deal, it's been about basically like a celebrity deathmatch sort of tournament. And it's been after I've expressed an opinion on the game or when I've never intended to. And I actively go out of my way not to express opinions when I do that. And I still think it's murky territory. And I'm still really I'm constantly looking at my own stuff and I'm like, I took this brand deal, was that okay? Did I cross a line here? I think with PlanetSide I did. And I've been abundantly clear that I think I really crossed the line with PlanetSide 2. And I don't think I would, and I should never do anything like that again. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not.
Some people in chat were like, well, why would you ever lie to your subscribers? I think I narrowed it down to why you would lie to your subscribers. One, because you know it's wrong. And two, because your subscribers will call you out and destroy you for doing it. And so rather than deal with the hassle of already, look, you've read YouTube comments. Everyone has.
Of course.
It's a minefield of destruction. So going into it what you're going to get. And so people would rather just be like, yeah, no, these are my opinions. And it all be hidden and under the table than have to deal with
They're not
with
your
you
opinions
guys.
anymore. They're not. Yeah. If you've been paid, they are not your opinions anymore. And as far as I'm concerned, any kind of influencer or advertorial content on YouTube should be devoid of opinions. Play Far Cry 4 for 10 minutes, make some stupid whooping noises and jokes. Don't express opinion on the gameplay. After you've been paid money, that opinion is colored. It's biased. It doesn't matter if you say, well, I'm not biased. No, you are. And you may even be overcompensating for that bias. You might be more negative than you should be because you're worried about appearing biased. That in itself is a bias.
Yeah. I feel like if I was a game developer, right, and I was sending my game around and being like, hey, here's my game. If you want to play it, like, it's cool. And somebody wrote back and was like, oh, yeah, I'll only play your game if you give me like 10 grand. I'd be really offended because it implies like, I'm not going to play this shitty game unless you pay me for it, right? And then it's just like, I don't want you to play my game anymore anyway.
Yeah. It's like so you spent years developing this stuff. Yeah. And and a lot of these indie devs in particular did it on a shoestring budget, fucking eating ramen for 2 years, and then this fucking trumped up YouTuber comes along and demands 10 fucking grand to play your game or whatever. This is why YouTubers get a bad name. You know, I've defended this as being a real job for ages. I put more hours in than most. You know, this is a real job, a real company. I have real employees. I have real fucking tax ID. I have a real LLC. This is a job like any other, and my audience is my power, right? Because I earned that audience by making them trust me over the course of 5 fucking years, right? It's a real job. But when people do that, I can certainly see where others are coming from when they say YouTubers are fucking assholes and they're overpaid for what they do. And yeah, we are. We are. Like, come on. You know, I don't deserve more money than a nurse. You're fucking kidding me? Absolutely not.
Look, I was a teacher. I know the difference between the two.
I worked at the post office.
I've physically seen the difference between the two.
Worked at the post office on a night shift. I walked home at 6 a.m. in the fucking snow. Like, and I got paid shit for that. And that sucks, but unfortunately, like, real life is not a meritocracy like that, and I get paid based on the size of my audience. That's why it's fair. It's, like, numerically fair. But still, I don't have to act like a piece of shit. Like, at least the least I could do is appreciate this guy spent, like, 2 years working on this, not demand money. Come on.
Well, I think that goes to who we are, and I'll even include Dodger in this. I think it goes to who we are that... before this existed, we did Internet Stuff TV for free.
For free.
Because we had the passion to do it.
Podcasting
and you and I go
like
way
6 years.
back.
Oh, yeah,
like,
totally.
way back. And we did it because it was something we enjoyed doing for free. And we did it for the hell of it. And we did it for the fun. And we enjoyed it. And now that money is involved, it's sort of like wow, this is a great bonus to life. Like, this worked out really well. But we appreciate where we came from to get here. I think a lot of YouTubers, especially the guys who blew up out of nowhere, first off, are very young. Second off, have very little life experience. And third off, don't understand the work and time and energy it takes to actually earn money, to have a real job. And they're like, yeah, no, I'll review your stupid game for like 10 grand. It's like, dude, whatever happened to just being like respectful of someone else and then also being like, I'll do it to establish a relationship with you. I'll do it for free because it's nice to know that in the future, if you, blow up as a company, you'll start sending me more games. And you'll start doing, like, that's how relationships work. You don't be like, yeah, I'll do it for a ton of money.
And more to the point, they are
guys.
Giving you content, like, on a silver platter right there.
Yeah.
And I totally get, like, you can't play every game that comes your way. Obviously. That's cool. But I wouldn't turn around. This is the thing, right? On all of the games that I've got, I would never turn around and say, well, I'm not interested in this game, but if you pay me some money, I'd be interested in it. Yeah. Fuck that. That is hugely dishonest. That's creating a situation where the only games that would ever end up on my channel are ones that had the money to fucking pay me to show them. I critique video games. I'm not your fucking advertiser, you know? That's a terrible idea.
Right.
How did we get talking about this? Why are we talking about this?
I don't know how we got into
journalism. You did it, games journalism. Way to go.
Oh my god, that's why. That's why, because we were talking about Nintendo Direct. And then we were talking about journalism and whether or not it's necessary. And then we were talking about YouTube. And oh god, I was like, how did we get on this again?
Chat's right. Chat's right. I am full on kids these days mode. I'm like, kids these days they aren't appreciative. They don't get it. Look,
but for real, like
right there.
Earlier today. I was talking with one of the guys at Maker. We were talking about a YouTuber who will go unnamed, who made the statement of somebody was talking about how they needed to find like a new job. And he was like, well, man, you just need to take like a year and just build up your YouTube channel. Like, just don't worry about it. And he was like,
no.
I have rent, dog. Like, what are you talking about? But this is somebody who blew up while he was living with his parents, right? And like has literally never had a different job. So it's such a skewed understanding of like what it's like to try and have a job and like live. It's so
fucking
weird.
Years,
it's so weird.
I was living on basically nothing. I accrued credit card debt. I refinanced a loan that I'd already refinanced because I had to make sure that my family had a fucking roof over their heads. I blew up on YouTube and then I worked hard at it to maintain it. And that's cool. And, I'll always say that I worked hard to get where I am, but that still I'm very, very fortunate. There's no doubt. I get paid absurd amounts of money for what I do. And I am very lucky in that regard. And yeah, I think you are right. Some of these people do explode out of nowhere and they just don't know any fucking different. Well, go work retail. Go work at the post office. That will fucking tell you, that will explain to you how life works. And be appreciative of what you fucking have.
All I'm saying is I wish them the best, because when YouTube dies or when their career ends,
pop.
they will have nothing. Save your money, kids, because you will have nothing. YouTube kids, save that cash, because you will be screwed. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll cover the rest of the news. People are bleating on about a Destiny 2. Apparently, so a tweet just went out and said, Destiny 2 is already being worked on. Well, you know what would be nice? Make Destiny 1 a good game first. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the co-optional podcast for the last 45 or so, 35-ish minutes of the show.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. So, yeah, Dawngate, depressing. Journalism integrity, depressing. Do we have any good news this week?
We start out really good. We start out very optimistic.
You're like,
very
everything's great. Video games. And now it's
Video games are the best.
Video games. We could talk about something funny.
Sure, let's do that.
All right. So, member of Polaris and colleague, as in actual colleague, who is on our network, Jim Sterling, who we've had on the podcast twice.
Jimmy.
Good guy.
Wham.
Certainly, he's got a mouth on him. No doubt about that.
Good. Good is a relative term.
Yep.
Guy. We'll just say guy.
Definitely got a mouth. Absolutely got a mouth on him. And his channel is kind of dedicated to doing like the first 10 or 20 minutes of a lot of kind of really gnarly Steam games. And every now and again he'll stumble across a gem, but most of the time he's playing the stuff that we see on the front page and we're like, how did this even get here? Something that got greenlit somehow mysteriously. And he did a game called Slaughtering Grounds, which as it turns out was not particularly brilliant. And he posted his video of it. You know, he did the first 10 minutes of the game blind, as he always does. You know, it's clearly labeled what this thing is. You know, it's the first 10 minutes blind, no research, nothing. It's not a review, because reviews aren't the first fucking 10 minutes of a game. Get that into your bloody head. And then the developer took the video, put subtitles over it, calling him a fucking idiot. Like, for like 10 minutes, he had like all of these comments on it that he put in subtitles, re-uploaded it to a channel called Review the Reviewers, then posted it on the Steam page! The actual Steam page!
Oh, what a fucking moron.
Here's the thing. I kind of love that. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of love that. I think I would have enjoyed all the people who give crap to video game developers if they just do VO over someone else's VO of their game and then like, this guy's an idiot. Oh, if I ever met this guy, punch him in the face in real life. I would watch that channel all the time. That would be amazing.
My God. I bet Jim fucking loved that too.
Yeah, right? He did.
I bet he loved that video.
So let me show you the fruits of the labor here. So this is... so what Jim did is he took the video and then he commentated over it. And it's like been then they made a second video and then he commentated over that. Like it's been videoception for the longest time. Let me show you. So this white text is what the developer added. Hello, this is Jim Sterling and I'm a fucking idiot. Don't believe me? Well, just watch this piece of shit review I've made. Firstly, not a fucking review. And then it's like, don't expect a legitimate review. Well, yeah, because it's not a review! It's the first 10 minutes of a game blind, and it's clearly demonstrated that it's that. Now, let me flap my stupid mouth for a bit. A bit is apparently one word. Because I need to read this for you and myself, since I didn't actually try the game before I started recording my useless review. It's not a review! These models are not as detailed as the first. It's not that maybe I like the first, but rather I know I need to be negative till I'll point out that... Oh my god, and this goes on for 10 fucking minutes!
My God.
Which is hilarious because it goes on over actual. This is the best. He starts calling him about halfway through the video Jim fucking Sterling. Like this bit right here. It's all right. It's the developer's fault, right? I mean, I'm Jim fucking Sterling. What?
I love this idea. I don't care if it's insane. I like that it's insane. That is awesome. More developers should do this. It's very entertaining.
Oh god. I mean,
it's much better than trying to have the video taken down, right? To just like
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that.
It's not as bad as DMCA. Not as bad as that. I'm very surprised they didn't try it, but
me too. I thought that's where this was going. I'll be honest.
It might, because apparently they took down the videos now. But Jim Sterling kept the commentated versions on his channel, so they might DMCA it. It might happen. But interestingly enough, I think then you were getting some weird situation because they're all actually the same video. Like they originally nicked it from him.
Right. Oh my god.
Speaking of bad games, Friday, Dodger and I learned something amazing while filming Friend Zone. One of the cameramen who was there.
That's right. Yes.
One of the cameramen who was there was the writer for Ride to Hell. Not Man Crisp, who's the writer for Ride to Hell.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. I couldn't believe that.
It was the best part was that he realized it was bullshit, but he was not apologetic at all. He was like, "Look, man, they wanted me to write a fucking script. I wrote a fucking script." Like,
it was incredible. He was like, by the time I got the script they gave me and they told me to edit, it was so misogynistic, and I was like, honestly, you should have just made it more. I was like, at this point, you should have just gone crazy with it.
Yeah.
I was like, were you the one who put in the fully clothed sex scenes? And he was like, I had no control over that. I was like, I love this guy. It was amazing. I couldn't believe that we met that guy. It was great.
I think I'm just shocked that it had a writer. Like, frankly, really. I thought it was what the graphics artist did in his off time between animating terrible fully clothed cutscenes. Oh my god.
So good. That was so amazing.
Incredible.
Lauren came to us and was like, I have something for you. Like a gift.
Tell you guys something. And he walked through and she's like, I present to you the writer of Ride to Hell. We were just like,
I would have loved to meet that guy. I would have backhanded him first, but then we would have had a conversation.
He was a British dude, if I'm not mistaken, which is even better.
Well, I think actually, the whole studio was actually based in the town I used to live in, Gateshead. They call you Technics. They're terrible. But
it was amazing. It was amazing.
So he might even be from around my neighborhood. I don't know.
Oh my god!
I hope you guys become best friends.
Or they were best friends. That's what I want. Is that they
went to school together.
Split.
They went to Skyline. Yeah.
We had a falling out, and now this is what his life has become.
Yeah. And one day you'll see each other on the street and lock eyes, and you'll remember those times.
And then we'll cry and embrace, and everything will be better.
Yeah, it'll be so good.
Then he goes on to write a AAA
and then it'll rain.
Awards everywhere. Oh, man.
Look at me now, TB. Look at me now.
Oh god.
Yep.
Yes, but back onto the subject of that. Yes. I understand, like, if you develop a video game and someone goes on YouTube and kind of just shits on it, that's gonna sting. Absolutely is gonna sting.
Course.
But simultaneously, you have to realize if your game gives a bad first impression, and you cannot lie about really what's on the screen. If you muted Jim Sterling's video, would you think that game was any good? I'm going to imagine the answer to that is no, because it isn't. I mean, this is also a game, by the way, that is accused of stealing art, because some people on some forums found the specific blood splatters on Google Images, and also it looked like the menu screen was nicked from a DeviantArt account. And apparently there's some sounds, and they also used a bunch of those default Unity assets that everyone really shouldn't ever do.
Right,
so the game looked terrible. There's no doubt about it.
It's a really good game, is what I'm hearing.
It looked absolutely awful. There's no doubt. And yet, the reaction was way worse. Like, you made a bad video game, take your lumps. Like, if the first 10-minute experience is bad, use it as information. The new user experience, they pay people to figure that shit out. You just got it for free on a silver platter. Yeah, he shit on your game, but maybe your game was shit. And if he did it after playing it for 10 hours and it was unjustified and he didn't understand the mechanics, I totally get your anger. Send him a polite email and say, look, would you mind correcting this because you fucked up? But if it's the first 10 minutes and blind and it's disclosed as that, it's never claimed to be an official review or anything like that, you got nothing to complain about. Your game gave a bad first impression. Figure out how you can fix that going forward. Mm-hmm. Take your lumps. And don't act like a fucking idiot. The only... Mike Bithell, the developer of Thomas Was Alone, made a recent post that was really good about this. And he said this: if you're aiming to get back at a YouTuber and you want to hurt them, it won't work. The only person that ever benefits in this situation is the YouTuber. Because they get a ton of fame and publicity. The videos on Jim Sterling's channel got 6 times the regular viewership. He gained like 2,000 subscribers in a day. You just handed him a gift.
Yeah.
You idiot.
It's true. It pretty much always turns out that way. If you try to start a fight, then
no. The way you win that is you go back and create a better game and make that YouTuber have to praise your work and make them promote your shit later. That's how you win that argument. Like, at first you said I sucked. Now you can suck.
Look at me now.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
Incidentally, Real McCoy's fucking best. I heard Sam has ordered some in. Dodger.
Oh my god. Yeah. He ordered so much
This
food.
might be my fault. I pointed him to a website where I order all my British stuff from, and I think he went
He was
there.
so excited. He was like, oh my god, TB showed me this website where I can get so much British food. I can't wait. I'm so jazzed. We went to the grocery store and he was like, I'm not even going to buy anything here. I
That's
don't need
stupid,
anything
because you can't order actual real food. It's mostly just like chocolate and crisps. And
That's
they're
all he
great,
lives
don't
on
get me
anyway.
wrong, but
That's like all he eats.
I ordered a
Yeah.
30-pack of flame-grilled steak real McCoys, and they're fucking... I mean, there's no crisp in this country that is better than this. It's so good. And I ordered, like, 40 tubes of Maynard Sours and 3 buckets of Cadbury's Roses and, like, a bunch of biscuits and some shower gel, because I just like that shower gel. It's bad. Like, I feel the pounds coming back, but they're distinctly British pounds.
Right,
They're
yes.
pounds
which makes them-
sterling.
And those are worth something.
Absolutely. It's real stuff. Yeah, I think it's called either Brit Superstore or British Superstore. It's easy to find on Google. I'm not going to link it because you'll crash the website like you always fucking do. But the shipping costs are kind of high because obviously you're ordering a lot of it in bulk. Like, that was a 30 box of McCoys and things like that. But it's a good way to get some really good shit. Like, they'll get you a lot of stuff from Marks and Spencer's. It's really nice. But real McCoys, man. So good. I'm going to mute my mic so I can eat another one.
Mike isn't muted. Mike
Yeah,
is not muted.
Definitely didn't
Mike
mute
is
it.
not muted.
Definitely did.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So they can't hear you go like, oh,
God.
God, this is so good. Oh,
Oh.
There's a taste of meat in my mouth.
Yep.
Don't get it.
Go on.
Go on.
Go on.
God. It's good shit. It's good shit. All right, what else have we got on the news? Oh, so here's an interesting idea. Being
Yes.
reported that the EFF, of course, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is a non-profit organization dedicated to freedom on the internet, has
Yay.
filed a legal paper seeking 6 exemptions to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, one of which is an exemption to the idea that games that are no longer supported by the developer and require a connection to a server could basically be worked around for continued play, preservation, research, or study. So basically, you could set up like a private hacked server to run a game that's offline, and they're trying to make that effectively legal.
Interesting.
Very cool idea, especially considering we just mentioned Dawngate. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting notion, because of course, especially with free-to-play games, more often than not, they involve the investment of cash, and that cash has a tendency of vanishing when a game goes offline. And there are, of course, plenty of MMOs that I'm sure people would continue to like to play, and also just games in general that have some kind of offline component. It's the notion of abandonware, right? That if a
Right.
company has abandoned the game, can't buy it legally anywhere, then you should be allowed legally to acquire it via other means.
Well, isn't that hasn't that been done with Star Wars Galaxies? Am I crazy?
I believe that
Because you
was
can still play Galaxies, but it's
On an
technically
unofficial
like
server.
shut down. Yeah.
but I believe that that's not technically legal. I just believe that SOE didn't actively pursue the shutdown of those things. That's my
Gotcha.
understanding of it, at any rate.
Legal conundrum.
Yes.
What defines what you can legally put up there? Imagine I said the World of Warcraft that I know and love no longer exists. I want to create World of Warcraft pre-Burning Crusade and have that exist somewhere. Obviously, it might be borderline impossible, but the idea is still there. Is that is that legally feasible then? Could I do that? Could I create a original 2005 server?
Well, EFF didn't put that in the paper. They decided not to put MMOs with a persistent world in it, probably because of that very reason, because it's problematic, right? And that probably won't get passed. So it looks like they're trying to target something that's more feasible and more acceptable. The idea is difficult because you can definitely argue loss there, but simultaneously you can say, well, I don't like playing Mists of Pandaria era WoW, so I'm not going to subscribe, but I'd
Right.
happily play Burning Crusade.
Right.
I think it's because it's ongoing. It's a much, much harder argument to make, to say that that would be in any way legal or ethical.
Right.
Because, like, okay, you disagree with the way that a game went, but simultaneously, I think that when you're dealing with an online title, you implicitly accept the notion that it might change in future, right? And that doesn't give you the right to suddenly go and say, all right, well, I'm unsubbing and playing on a private hacked server now. I don't think that you really have a lot of legal recourse there, or even ethical justification for it.
Yeah, I think the only way that you would be able to justify it and have the law behind you would be if that game was literally unavailable to you otherwise.
But that's what I'm saying. Inherently, my question or my interjection isn't about whether it's something you could do or not. It's the legality of it. Because the idea that WoW 1.3 will never exist again. That is not a thing that exists. And so because it doesn't exist, under a rule like this, if I was a person who wanted WoW 1.3 to come back, I would fight to the death and use this as an example and be like, well, I can never access that anymore. Why is this not legal for me to do now?
But the legal paper didn't do it, because I think that the EFF knows that's a really hard battle to win. The problem is Blizzard has literally sued private server providers for millions of dollars. Like, there is legal precedent of them winning, which makes that any kind of attempt to change the law here a lot harder. So I think they deliberately avoided that for that very reason, because that's the can of worms. That's the really hard one to argue.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I totally see your point. It's an interesting notion, isn't it? That, as you said, that game technically does not exist. It's not the same game anymore.
Right.
And I mean, I don't have problems with people playing on private servers as long as they're sub to WoW. And also, I don't believe... It's the same as the piracy argument. You can't prove loss, because that person may have never intended to buy the game in the first place. It's like, oh, well, this guy's playing a private server, so he's not paying for a sub. Yeah, but if he doesn't like the way your game's going, he's not going to pay for a server anyway. He's not going to pay for a sub anyway. So you literally have lost nothing in him doing that. It's a very interesting discussion.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes it a little less gray is when you create that private server, then you charge people for access to it. If you keep it free, then I think a company has very wobbly legal ground to be on, because you're not making anything off of it. You're doing it because you want that experience, and so you can fight that. You still may lose, but you can at least fight it. But if you're charging people for it, you are basically doing very illegal work. Like you can't do that. So
well, that was the whole issue with Minecraft, right? Minecraft Mojang let so many Minecraft servers exist that were making money off of different, events that were happening on the server, and even like access to the server at all. And then they finally were like, no, this is not okay anymore. But they let it go for so long that people were like, but this is my job now. This is how I make money, and so there was kind of like a revolt against that whole concept, but legally they had nothing to stand on. Yeah. Right? Like, technically, they were doing something illegal.
Mm-hmm. And someone in the chat makes like a good point. And this is just kind of the wider piracy thing. The problem with piracy is that just because you aren't going to pay doesn't mean you should get it for free. Absolutely. But what we're talking about is material harm here. The ethics in that respect are in a state of flux. I also believe this. I don't believe that just because you don't intend to pay for something, you have the right to it for free. I mean, that seems like common sense. But simultaneously, if this person was never going to pay for it, you can't prove material loss. Right. Which means that the line that the games industry and the film industry went on for years by saying, people are losing money. We lost this much money because of piracy. You can't prove that. You may have lost nothing. You may have gained money as a result of piracy, because people were encouraged to either go see the next one or buy the next album because they pirated something, they found it good, or subscribe to your cable channel because they downloaded a series of something, they really enjoyed it, and they wanted to get into the next one. So they subscribed to your cable channel, or they bought a subscription to Netflix or whatever, or they bought a box set. That happens so often. So yeah, it's yes, on an ethical level, no, you're not entitled to it. But proving material harm is not impossible. So that's where the difference is. But it's definitely an interesting idea, isn't it? And it shows, I think, that copyright law is very outdated when it comes to the digital realm. And this is something that does need to be addressed eventually. Because let's be frank, games are the history of our media just like anything else is. Yeah. We even heard a couple of weeks ago that Sega had contacted MAME, the arcade emulation guys, to get code to run certain games because they don't have it anymore.
Like,
you see,
that's so weird.
This is real. This is the preservation of our digital history is a real issue that most people don't really think about all that much. And we are getting to the point there, without emulation, some of this stuff could be lost forever. once all of these machines stop working, which they eventually will, and a lot of them have, you won't be able to experience that stuff anymore, ever.
Right.
Crazy.
That's actually it's funny how it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. The pirates might be the good guys in the end. That's all I'm saying. There are Jack Sparrows. You're our Jack Sparrows, pirate. Out there on Pirate Bay, seeding for the rest of the world. Good on you.
Don't encourage them, damn it.
But where else am I going to get my downloads? I don't pirate, guys.
Well, no. But at the end of the day, we also make money playing video games. Why the fuck would we? I can understand why some people do.
True.
It sucks, but it's the way it is. All right. 15 minutes left of the show. We might actually talk about releases. I know. We never get to do this. This is what happens when we take a guest away from the show. We talk about less stuff, apparently. So there you go.
That works.
Let's talk releases.
Ready?
Gotcha. Go.
Call of Duty came out today.
Yes, it did. It also came out yesterday for those that pre-ordered. Because Day Zero edition.
You know.
Whatever.
Also, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth came out today.
Did it come out today? It was...
Yep.
PC, PS4,
yes, it did.
PlayStation Network Vita, and Mac. I didn't know it's on Vita.
I didn't know
Vita sounds
Mac
like an
had games,
ideal
so
platform
that's
for that
cool.
game.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Macintosh, finally getting a video game.
Want that. The only Macintosh game.
That's cruel.
Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Rocksmith 2014 for PS4 and Xbox One.
Okay.
The Walking Dead Season 2 has come out on Vita now. Citizens of Earth for Wii U.
Hell is Citizens of Earth.
It's an Atlas game.
You effing kidding me?
No, I'm not. What the heck? What? I'm sorry, I went to the website and there's cats?
No, Citizens of Earth is a what?
What the fuck
Citizens
is
of
this?
Earth, an Earthbound-inspired RPG where players play as the Vice President of the United States.
What?
What? Oh God, I need to get
This is crazy looking.
I need to get this.
There's cats.
Cats.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna show it because it's on Nintendo's channel. I don't fucking trust them. But yeah, that looks a bit weird. Yes. Huh. All right then. Huh.
You play as the Vice President. Holy
I like
crap.
the art style though.
It's nice.
This is ridiculous.
Well, that's out for Wii U. So another thing to play on your Wii U.
That actually looks interesting. I might try it.
Yeah.
Next up is called Don't Die, Mr. Robot for PlayStation Network Vita.
It
Yeah.
is. Mr. Robot loves fruit, but when he tries to eat one, it explodes. It's not all bad, though. Those explosions destroy the endless hordes of robotic machines trying to squish, zap, stomp, and bite him. It's their fruit, you see, in brackets. So it's an arcade game with fruit.
Aye.
Sure.
Blaze Rush for PlayStation 3 Network.
That is a isometric-ish kind of racing game. It's on Steam already.
There you go. Disney Infinity Marvel Superheroes for PlayStation Network Vita for anybody who's into Disney Infinity. How to Survive Storm Warning Edition for PlayStation 4.
That
I don't know
game
what
is
that
silly.
means.
How to Survive is a very silly game. It's a top-down shooter/survival game. It's really weird. It's not very good, at least in my opinion.
All right, cool, good to know. Wolf Among Us is out for Vita, all the PlayStation stuff.
Yes.
Snark Busters High Society
Snark
for PlayStation
Busters?
3 Network.
What is this?
Blockbusters.
What is this?
Snark Busters. I don't know what that is.
I think it's also out on... Oh, it's a hidden object game.
Sounds like my jam.
Uh-huh.
Frozen Synapse Prime for PlayStation 3 Network and PC.
Yes, they're changing all the visuals on it, which is weird because I thought the visuals were like the coolest thing about Frozen Synapse, and now it doesn't look the same, and that scares me
Yeah.
because I'm old and terrified.
I can't accept new things.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it, but I don't know what the fuck's going on with the visuals in that game. It's not the clean blues that I saw previously. Let me put it that way.
Clean Blues.
Clean blues.
The Hungry Horde is out for Vita, PlayStation Network Vita.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
I'm
a
gonna
lot
try
of games
and find
coming
out.
out
It is. No, this is not helpful. You play your very own horde of zombies fighting for survival. It is a reverse survival horror. Humans you recruit join your ever-increasing horde in a constant race against the clock to get out of the area before you get nuked. You collect different kinds of zombies.
All these games use the same font. I'm sick of it.
Do.
Stop using that same, like, broken wood font. I don't know. I'm fucking over it.
All right, then.
Anyway, last game for this today is MotoGP 14 for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Network.
Woo!
Yay! November 6th, we've got Pier Solar and the Great Architects for Wii U.
I don't know anything about that game, so I looked it up, and apparently it is a 2010 RPG that looks like an old school RPG that sold out immediately. Like apparently it like a bajillion pre-orders and sold out. I've never heard of this game.
This game was quite literally a homebrew game made for the Sega Genesis in 2010.
What?
Yep. And then they ported it. It's available on PC and things like that as well. They set out to literally make a Genesis RPG. That's what they wanted to do, within the Genesis restrictions of what you needed within a Sega Genesis, with the Sega CD as well. So they wanted a little bit of extra oomph there. And they did it. They did it. Not only that, but they actually made a run of it. They printed the fucker. Like, they made real Sega CD games and sold them, and then they reprinted them again. And then they released an HD version. They also released the HD version on Sega Dreamcast in 2014. It's a really cool story. Like, I don't think I want to play it, but it's an awesome story.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I feel like it deserves a look. With all that, I mean...
Yeah, it's crazy.
Next up is The Swapper for Wii U.
Great game. Awesome game.
Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for 3DS.
Nobody cares.
And Sports Ball for Wii U.
Sports Ball? What the hell?
Sports Ball.
That's
Sports Ball.
What is Sports Ball? Play on the ground, through the clouds, or even in space! Sports Ball is soccer, jousting, and flying birds. In this local multiplayer game, become a squawk jockey. That sounds pornographic. And join one of the 4 world-renowned teams. Each team flies one of their 4 unique birds in order to flap, tackle, dive, and score its way into Sports Ball history. Use the Wii U gamepad microphone to announce the matches. Give play-by-play or heckle your friends. What are you waiting for? That kind of sounds kind of neat.
I was going to say...
That sounds kind of fun, right?
I mean, that sounds like it could be fun, yeah.
Sports Ball!
Sports Ball!
You could be squawk jockeys together. Oh my god.
I would never say that in polite
jockeys.
company. What are you? I'm a squawk jockey. Like, you what?
Oh.
Is that legal? I mean...
Last up
Digital
in our
sports.
list for this week is A Bird Story for PC.
More birds. A bird story.
A bird story.
A story of birds.
Oh.
Birds.
It is an indie adventure short about a simple narrative taking place between the mix of a boy's memories, dream, and imagination. And the developer of this looks very familiar. I'm sure I've met this person before. Huh. Oh, it's because it's the follow-up to the Moon.
Oh.
That's why I know it. Yes. It is apparently a short bridge between To the Moon's first and second episodes. The second of which is yet to be released. Yeah. It's. I think that person's name is Kyo Gao, I believe made it. Yes.
Oh, well, now I gotta play
sorry,
this.
Kan Gao, yes.
Ken Gao.
Kan Gao. Yeah. So, yes. A bird story is not to be ignored.
Review. The one review on the page is from his aunt. And it's like, I guess the music's kind of nice, but it sounds like it's ripped off from To the Moon. Nice.
Yes. Yep. So cool. If it's got something to do with To the Moon, then that's a reason to be interested in it.
Yeah, for sure.
If you like those kind of narrative-driven experiences, which is what To the Moon was. Very much so.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, that pretty much wraps us up for the releases and pretty much wraps us up for the show as well, I believe. So why don't we take an opportunity to talk about what's coming up on our channels this week and where they can find us. Let's begin with Jesse.
Hey, youtube.com/Jesse Cox. That's where Let's Plays and various things are. This week is a lot of wrapping up series and things like that, and then BlizzCon is this weekend, so I don't know what's going to happen this weekend with videos. I might do a bunch of indie games just for the fun of it. And then I will be back with something. I'm not sure what the next game I'm going to play is. I have literally no clue, but I'm sure it'll be something enjoyable. I will suggest you go to check out this past week's Greenlight, because we played a game that is honestly, I'd get it on an iOS device before I got it on Steam, but it's called Ephemerid, and this is right up TB's alley. It is a musical adventure that is all rock music, and it is so good.
Oh, I think I heard about this.
It is very, very good. It for people who watched it in chat, they're screaming bees. We did make up a song called Bees and Beatles while we played it, but it is it is fantastic. Like, it is all music. It is all very like over the top rock, and the evil spider in it has like a techno beat. It's fantastic. I would get it on iOS before anywhere else. It exists there, and I would play that. It was great. Then go to the Facebooks, the Jesse Cox, and the Twitters, Jesse Cox, and that's where you can find me.
All right. Dodger, what's going up?
Hi guys, I have 2 YouTube channels, youtube.com/press start to continue, where I do gaming and nerdy adjacent stuff, and lots of weird stuff happens on that channel. Unfortunately, the Dandelion series is on hold for right now. But
that's a shame.
I know. So many cat boys and bunny boys just not getting their butts
You got
touched.
my wife
It's really
to play that fucking thing.
Really disappointing. Yes.
You have a lot to answer for.
So happy. That makes me so happy. But just gameplay and weird DIYs and weird rant shows and all of that is all on Press Heart to Continue. And then my other channel is Dexterity Bonus, where I drink coffee and talk about my cats. So I would love to have you on either of those places, and on all of the social medias, I'm at DexBonus, DEXBONUS. The end.
Cool. You can find me over at youtube.com/cynicalbrit. We should hopefully have a new StarCraft-related video coming out as well soon, which is on youtube.com/Totalbiscuit. Our team is working on videos for Empire Earth, so we're getting Korean StarCraft players to play old RTS badly, and also Stronghold Crusader Extreme, the old one, which is going to be very interesting indeed. Those 2 videos are currently in the pipeline. Can't tell you exactly when they're coming out, but they are being worked on. Aside of that, for me, I'll do a bit more Hearthstone, and I'm working on... I've got so many games to play right now. I'm pretty much, I think, done with my Advanced Warfare videos. I don't really think there's a need to release a single-player video at this point. But I've got a bunch of other games I want to look at. I'm still working on Lords of the Fallen. I tried 5 takes of that game and everything fucked up, so I'm actually, my new computer is sitting on the floor over there right now, and it's just saying, I can take it. Let me give it a bash, because that game is demanding, especially to record at 60 FPS. But he'll manage it. He's over there. He's leering at me. He's going to do a good job.
He's like, me?
Yep. It's like 5930K overclocked and 298Es. We'll see how that performs. Also, there's a game about divers versus sharks, and it's called Depth, and I want to fucking play it. It's a multiplayer game about divers versus sharks. That sounds...
Jesse was telling me about that game and how badly he wants to play it.
Guess who's going to try and play that one? Yeah, I'm definitely going to give that one a shot. I have lots and lots and lots of games to look at, and really kind of all my series are on hold until I really feel like I've done as many sort of WTFs of recent stuff as possible. So once that's done... then I can kind of get back to the other stuff. But right now I'm just making WTFs, making as many as I can, and making them in 60 frames per second, because they've had a good response and people seem to like 60 FPS very much, and why the fuck wouldn't they? Because they have eyes. They're usually located in the front of your face, right here.
Hi, balls.
So someone asked, well, how do you tell the difference? Well, first, you have eyes. There is no step 2. Simple as that. But yes, you can find us on Twitter. Twitter.com/TotalBiscuit. Twitter.com/JesseCox. Twitter.com/DexBonus.
Yay!
That's how it is. And we are about wrapped up. Thank you very much for watching, folks. We very, very much appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Good night.
Bye-bye.